Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 358 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's up, gang? Already 3 weeks into the new season, we still have an undefeated team. I have a couple of completely defeated teams as well. Also coming to you from a new venue tonight. We'll get to that a little bit later. But first, let's say hi to the gang. Producer Mikey Grinelli has some big travel news for the boys this week. Share it with the crew.
Well, I am just very, very excited to see you fine gentlemen in Philadelphia this weekend. We'll be doing tons of stuff. We'll get into that later, but very, very excited to get to Philadelphia.
Well, we can't fucking tease them and leave them blue-balled here. We're going to be doing a live event. Well, a couple of them, one of which thrown on by somebody else. And all four of us are going to be in Philadelphia, joined by maybe a couple other people, a couple special guests. And we're going to do a nice little gambling activation on Saturday night for the Philadelphia game. They are on the road. So if you are in the Philly area, and I believe it's downtown, please come join us. Let's have some fun. Let's get RA buckled and let's have a good time.
We'll be at the Tradesman, and that's 1322 Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. Come on by.
Blue balls. We got the chestnuts. We got it all, folks.
Love it. Philadelphia Warriors will be there as well playing. So looking forward to seeing those fellas. We met them a few years ago when we were down in Philly. Always had a good time. Paul, Biz Nasty Bissonette, TNT star, knocking them dead still, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, you're just playing tummy sticks because I gave you the national broadcast shout out when Radulov scored, and you know how horned up he gets when he scores, folks. He just goes crazy, and as soon as he smiles, the first thing that comes to my mind every time is the Warthog and RA in that fucking basement in Charlestown. Is that
Biz likes that.
Mummy. And you got the shout out, buddy. Things are going good. No Gretzky last week though. He's on like a 6-week vacation. Surprised considering
you got PP1 when he was out. I noticed.
You got that nice chair. No one to your right, dude. A little easier. Just what I say, surveying everyone to your left. No big deal.
I didn't need a neck rub the next day. I felt
you weren't watching tennis.
No, it was good. No, it was good. Good third broadcast. We're gonna keep it humming along. I think we got, what do we got? Wednesday is LA versus St. Louis, who's
the Blues are a wagon.
They are, but they got a little fucked up by the COVID situation. Ended up dropping one of the Avs, but a good bounce back against, well, no shocker, Chicago. But that's pretty much it for me, folks. What do you got going on?
Well, we got to go to the Wit Dog. Ryan Whitney, what's new at you, buddy? Anything?
Not much, just a great Halloween. It was a lot of fun. It's like so amazing becoming a dad and having kids. And as they get older, it becomes even better and better. Every year it becomes better and better. And now Ryder's like really into it, right? He's turning 4 at the end of November. So he was bombing around, crushing. He probably hit up 100 houses. I'm not kidding. And a very veteran play that a friend of ours in the neighbor, Krista, told us. She said, you got to bring a couple bags of your own. And then when his candy bag gets a little too heavy, you load it into the bags you're carrying. So then his candy bag's light again, right? Because you don't want this kid hurting his shoulder carrying around a bunch of fucking...
get him a roller bag next, for Christ's sake.
Hey, I would never, Biz. I would never have my kid bringing a roller bag into a hockey rink. But it was a lot of fun. My highlight of the night was, for the most part, I see 8:15, 8:30 is kind of the end of trick-or-treaters. Like, it was over. We hadn't had somebody in at least 30 minutes. And at 9:15, the doorbell rings. I'm like, what? And of course, who's hitting you up now? Like the 13, 14-year-olds. There was one kid. He was 6'3". He must have had his license. They are dressed up with nothing. One kid had a Bruins T-shirt on. And then one kid is standing at the doorway with a full-blown normal outfit. I go, what are you dressed up as on? He had glasses. He goes, a nerd. I'm like, okay. We had like 20 full bar candy bars left. I said, here you go. And they just absolutely raided this whole thing. But it was a great night. So I had a lot of fun. Other than that, not much, dude. I mean, I'm getting ready. I got surgery coming up November 12th in the elbow. Real bummer. 5 months out. 5 months without playing golf. What a kick in the dick. But I'm going to come back bigger, stronger, better, faster.
You should get on.
You know what you can work out? You know what I can work on? Putting. The goddamn putting stroke. You can work on that after a couple months. Can't do full swings, but I can putt around.
You should come back like DeChambeau, just go on an absolute cycle and come back ripping weights.
Oh, I would love to get some HGH. Anyone out there with an HGH connect, you get in touch with the Wit Dog, and I will be glad to pay whatever you need because
they're already in your DMs, dude.
You're going to look like Peyton Manning by the end of that cycle with that forehead already.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, my forehead's big enough. You can already, it's a drive-in movie theater. I think, though, in the end, I could be ripped up, but I'd probably be the guy that gets in the HGH and then like tears his Achilles, knock on wood.
So you
only knock on wood with your right hand, folks. Never knock on wood after you say something.
There's rules to it.
3 times, right hand. Boom.
What if you're a lefty? No, you got to do it right.
Don't fuck with your left hand.
When I am a lefty and you can only knock on
over the left shoulder.
Even numbers.
What?
What if you have OCD and you can only knock on even numbers?
Well, then the knocking on wood ain't going to do shit for you.
Fuck.
You talked about golf. Okay. So for you big sandbagger fans, just to give you a heads up, we got one coming out in the next couple of weeks. We got Caulfield and Zegras. Then we got another one when we were in, help me out,
Jersey. We played against Scotty Gomez and Teddy Purcell.
So that's another one that we got in the bank that's going to come out around Christmas time. And then now we have another special one that we're going to do before Whit has to go into surgery. So we're going to give him a week before so the swelling can go down. This guy's battling through injury, folks.
Guys, I'm pushing back surgeries for sandbaggers. I'm pushing them back. I'm pushing back my golf in the spring for you fans out there and for Biz and for us to get more content. So when you come at me and you call me a prick and you call me a curmudgeon, and you call me big-eared and you call me a donkey and you call my takes bad and you say I'm too tall, don't forget, I'm doing stuff for you constantly. I'm living my life daily for the fans. I'm never forgetting where I came from and who really butters my bread. So lay off me.
He's fuck you and greenskeepers for your entertainment, folks.
I like fuck you and caddies, but greenskeepers, if they do a good job, I love them.
So
Walston,
it'll be
Walston.
It'll be a good Philly trip. We got a couple live interviews planned. We're not going to divulge any of that information because you're going to be hounding us who we got. But no, it'll be good, and we're ready to go. And then Whit's going to have a nice little time off to recuperate.
Biz, did you have any costumes this year or nothing going?
I was going to ask you guys who were some of the best costumes you've ever that you saw this year. I saw Taylor Hall in Portnoy went as the same thing. Pretty woman. Did they? The guy and girl with their couple.
Richard Gere
and Julia Roberts.
31-year-old movie. Wow, that's good to see.
I hadn't seen that in a while, and they both couples look great. Like they had it in. I would probably give slight edge to Halsey. I want to say Dave went a little bit lazy with the hair dye, the spray, the gray to get a gray.
Halsey's good looking. His girl's good looking. Dave's girl's good looking. Dave's disgusting. So 3 of the 4 can pull it off, but Dave ain't no Richard Gere.
I'll say Halsey's one of those guys as he's gotten older, he's gotten like way better looking. Like he's like, I mean, I've seen him talking the other night. He's like a handsome dude now, as he's gotten older.
His lips are like fucking airbags too. If you get,
he's coming out with a lip gloss. I don't know if you guys heard.
Yeah, because he's from Lip Gloss, Ontario, just like the cologne that Drysdale has.
By the way, Biz, if you ever do need to make your hair gray for like Halloween, the best thing to do is just you take baby powder and just put baby powder in your hair.
Coming from the bald guy.
Cheat code.
Coming from the bald guy. Hey, the Halloween costume master back in the day as well.
But wouldn't you then if you like somebody touches it, it's just like, it's like LeBron doing the pregame thing. Like it's going everywhere.
I mean, if they come over and like rub your head like, hey.
So if if I knew somebody had baby powder in their head, what do you think the first thing I'm doing is I'm rubbing their hair?
Yeah, well, most people, that's the thing. You don't give your secrets away. You look like Tom Cruise in Collateral.
What are some of the best?
Is that what he did?
No, he had the gray hair for the first time in a movie, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. That would be.
I thought that was the worst part of that movie was how phony his head looked.
I thought the Collateral was such a good film.
Unbelievable
Michael
movie.
Mann is fucking
unbelievable movie, but the whole time you're wondering is like, who did the fake dye job on Tom here?
I disagree. I
think they were trying to not look like Tom Cruise because he's such a fucking like icon and image. Like, so by putting his hair different,
a lunatic.
So okay, so Grinelli deciding factor. Did you or did you
we're talking about?
Grinelli, did you or did you not like the dye job on Tom Cruise's head for the movie Collateral? Now, if you have not seen it or don't remember, Google it. And I think a lot of fans will agree with me. It was preposterous how bad it was.
Oh, really? Now, listen, that movie is. Now, I might have missed prior things, but I'm off the top of my head. That's when I was like, Jamie Foxx is a fucking absolute 5'2".
Could have been the movie.
That is terrible. That is horrible. That is so bad.
Thank you. Gee, the voice of reason.
Grinelli agrees with Biz. What a shocker.
What do you?
Great call on Jamie Foxx. He was nominated twice that year. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Collateral, and he won Best Actor for his performance.
Ray
in
Charles.
which is one of the all-time greats.
What did you? Oh, okay. You know what? He actually looks a lot like how De Niro looked in Heat, and I didn't think that was that bad. I guess it's very white. As
RA
I
is so horny. Now. We're starting out with the movie.
You're talking about Michael Mann right now. I'm about to nut. Sorry.
Wait, all right. Am I mistaken? Did Jamie Foxx do something that really showed his range prior to Collateral, or he been like comedies up until then?
Oh, plenty of stuff.
I mean, I think that.
How do you know it was before Collateral, Biz? You don't.
If you gave me 5 minutes, I could think of a few things where he showed his diversity in roles
before Collateral.
Yeah, you know Living Color.
Any
don't play Sunday. That. Or was that Damon Wayans?
I think that was Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans told me don't play it, but Jamie Foxx is Shanae.
Yeah, Shanae.
So, RA, I want to ask you a little trivia here. Is that the first time an actor has ever been nominated in the same year for Best Supporting and Main Actor?
No.
That's a good rip.
It's happened. It is a great question. It's happened a couple times. I know. It's happened in the actors category as well. I'd have to Google it to look it up. But there's only been one guy who's won 2 Oscars. He won like an honorary one, and he won for the actual award. It was a movie called 1945, The Best Years of Our Lives. It was like the first movie about the war after World War II.
Yeah, it was like the CFL. It was the only movie nominated for anything that year.
No, it was this dude. Like he actually was the only guy to win 2 Oscars for the same.
Oh, you know, it was before. Any Given Sunday wasn't a drama, but Any Given Sunday was 5 years before Collateral. So
that might be the one of the best undercover sports movies where you don't normally hear that in the top 5.
I died for that inch. I died for that inch.
Oh, and Ali. He did Ali too, of course. Another Michael.
I've never
Mann
seen
movie.
Ali. Hey,
no, he didn't. That was Will Smith.
He
was in Ali. He was in Ali.
He played Bundini.
He was
Suck on that TNT.
Showed his dramatic chops a little bit. But
by the way, Booty Call, all-time class. You haven't seen Booty Call? I believe that's the movie. And she's like, "Wrong hole, fool." Is that Booty Call?
I don't know, man. I sounds like sounds
you
something
it was during the intercourse. The man was in the wrong hole, but yeah, I don't know how we just got here, but god damn it,
right.
I having
we were talking about Halloween costumes and how bad what's his name's dye job was, Tom Cruise. Now, what were some other costumes that you guys saw this year that were creative? Far too many Squid Game ones. I think that was the most predictable.
It's funny to hear me not complain, but way too many Ted Lassos. I think maybe because it's been out for a long time, but that seemed to be by far the most popular.
Oh no, I got some devastating news because Cole Perfetti ended up DMing me and he was Ted Lasso and he's like, "Hey, I went as Ted Lasso. Let RA know. He'll love it. I listen to every pod." So you just crushed.
Sorry, Cole.
His was the best.
We won't have RA on the interview when we have you. Don't worry. He doesn't want to interview for dressing.
I guess I thought there was going to be way more Squid Game, but I guess a lot of people didn't see it, whereas people finally caught up with Ted Lasso. I think that's more indicative of people who are late to Ted Lasso because it had been out for so long. You would have thought Ted Lasso costumes would have been big last year, not this year.
Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of followers out there. I was on the Squid Game train early. One of the people that helped break the Netflix record for how many times it was watched in a short amount of time. But any other costumes quickly before we move on from the Halloween stuff?
I didn't see a lot.
TJ Oshie did Mean Girls, which was pretty funny. Him and his wife, he was dressed up as Regina George. So that was pretty funny. And I saw Charlie Coyle and his wife were Bobby Boucher and Vicky from The Waterboy. I thought that was really funny as well. He was like head to toe in football gear. It's nice.
Igor Shesterk and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, they went as Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction. They were doing like the fucking dance and stuff. You didn't see the clip on Instagram? They dressed up.
I missed that. I'm trying to keep focus because you keep focusing in and out on your new camera. We should.
RA's in a new place, guys. Maybe that
was the other thing I mentioned in the lead there, in the intro. Yeah, I'm in a new place. I moved back to my hometown finally after 17 years. I didn't know if I'd get back, but I moved in today. It's still a little sparse in here, whatever the word is, but I'm in. All I needed was a bed and internet to get my first night in, so I'm psyched to have that. And back in Charlestown. It feels
and a wet towel.
We lied. It's actually a prison cell. Already got in a little bit of trouble.
He only went back. 15 years must have been the statute of limitations for something, so he waited 2 more, and now he's back.
I said I wasn't going back. No, but all kidding aside, it's great to be back in the hometown, man. I didn't know if that I'd be back. 17 years I was in South Boston, and
he's like, wait
life
a
is
minute,
a funny
you guys
road.
give free food and Wi-Fi in the clink? Sign me up.
Oh my God. And
Three huts in a cot, Biz.
Are those pajamas? Those look comfy.
Yeah, what's the thread count?
Shit. I was going to mention our guest. Obviously, we're not bringing it on right now, but a little bit later, we have Washington forward Nic Dowd, and you're going to love it. It's
awesome.
A doozy of an interview. He's an absolute beauty, so we do have that a little bit later. And I just want to, I know you guys probably didn't hear it. Harold Russell is the name I was looking for, Best Years of Our Lives. That's for old stoolies out there who actually seen that movie, but it's the original like war movie, PTSD movie. It's unbelievable. Holds up 70 years later still. So what else we got here, boys? Oh, of course. What else are we going to talk about? But Pink Whitney. It's all about hockey, football, hoops right now. So head on over to your local bar and make sure to order some Pink Whitney. It's the perfect fall shot for you and your boys and your gals. And now that I'm relocated, my new local, Biz, is my old local. Warren Tavern used to be my bar for years. So I'm across the street from it. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but I know they got Pink Whitney behind the bar. So I'll probably be over there after we record and whacked it back a couple shots.
My girl was in Buffalo this past weekend, and she said she was going around trying to buy a little bit of it. And she struck out at 3 stores, sold out. I don't know if because everybody was all getting boozed up for Halloween and the festivities 100%. This past weekend.
Or it's because Buffalo's the biggest bunch of drunks you've ever seen in your life. What a city it is.
When they're
a drinking town.
Hey, and they're celebrating a competitive hocky team right now. And
actually, I love Josh Allen came in as Phil Mickelson doing the thumbs up. Like, did you see him doing that?
Flexed his calves in on the way in.
Flexed his calves doing those nerdy Phil thumbs up. So that was a good one. Josh Allen is a freak, and the Bills are nasty. Actually, I have a neighbor. He's a huge Bills fan. I saw him during Halloween. I said, like, if the Bills go to the Super Bowl, you going? Before I finish the question, he goes, yes. Like, if the Bills get to the Super Bowl, it might be 80% Bills fans. Like, they are just a rabid bunch that love to drink, and they love to get after it. And I'm a Bills. Like, if the Pats can't get it done, which I don't think they can this year, I'm a Bills guy. Go Bills.
So Bills and Oilers, you're on.
I'm on the Oilers so heavy, and all these Leafs fans coming at me for my comments. Shut up. Holy shit. By the way, like, talk about getting me to go after you even more. Do you know what you're supposed to do if somebody gives you a nickname that you don't like? You're not supposed to let them know that it bothers you. So now you dumb fucking Leafs morons. Never. Jesus Christ. Now I know I'm under your skin. I'm coming to get you. You think you can play with the Oilers? 7-game series, Edmonton, Toronto. That's in 5 in Edmonton. Fucking unbelievable shit kicking. McDavid stomps all over you. It's not even close. I'm an Oilers guy. So you once an Oiler, always an Oiler. I've got Oilers jerseys getting sent to me. It's not here yet. I'm going to rock that next podcast. I mean, I think Hyman will end up getting 8 goals in a 5-game series against the Leafs.
So you went from taking all that energy against the Islanders to transferring it over to the Leafs.
Well, the Islanders are probably going to win the cup, but the Oilers is who I want to win the cup.
Well, I just meant in the sense of, like, you used to speak that way and bash on the Oilers fan base, and now you're or Islanders, excuse me, and now you've shifted that over to the Leafs. I might have said Oilers first off. I meant the Islanders to the Leafs now.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a couple Oilers fans. A couple people wrote me actually, said, "Hey, Oilers fans don't hate you, man. Oilers fans don't hate you." And I started thinking, like, I really actually like the town. I dogged on it too much. I didn't. I'll go to different Aldos. I don't care. I'll go to the Cactus Club in the mall. I shot a machine gun in the West Edmonton Mall. How many cities can you say that about? Shooting fucking guns in the mall? I'll go back to Edmonton right now with my family. I'll settle in, and my kid will be a stay-at-home defenseman. Hopefully plays for the Oilers someday.
Let me ask you a question. Would you wear square-toe dress shoes from Aldo for a year if the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup?
No, because I've been saying they should win. I should get to wear, like, designer sick kicks that make me look awesome. I shouldn't have to wear these pigeon.
Okay.
Like,
how about I wear square toe dress shoes on TNT broadcast for a year if the Oilers win it?
Okay, and if the Leafs win it, I have to every single day of my life when I leave my house wear a pink tuxedo for 1 year.
Why did you go so hard?
I don't know, because I'm that confident that the Leafs aren't winning the cup.
Oh, I don't know, do you want to start there, RA, or we got to get to the?
We got to start with something that unfortunately is tough news.
Yeah. We hate starting with this shit, but it's obviously the biggest story in hockey for the last week.
Talk about a pathetic organization. Holy shit.
The Chicago Blackhawks, they were the big story this week. Of course, the scandal that's been going on there about the unreported sexual assault. The Jenner and Block law firm, their report dropped on Tuesday, and things just got uglier. In the words of the law firm, nothing was done by the Blackhawks after all this happened. Less than a half hour later, general manager Stan Bowman was out, as was senior director of hockey administration Al McIsaac. They resigned. The team was also fined $2 million. And then on Wednesday, John Doe from the lawsuit, that was player Kyle Beach. He came forward as John Doe, as the person who filed the lawsuit. He did a pretty gut-wrenching interview with TSN's Rick Westhead, who's done a great job on the reporting on this stuff, by the way. It was really tough to watch, especially when he's asked about the victim who came after him. Like I said, a gut-wrenching thing. And then shortly after that, Joel Quenneville coached Florida that night. A lot of people were upset that he was allowed to coach that night. He met with Gary Bettman Thursday, ended up resigning later in the day. And then Tim Cheveldayoff, who was the assistant general manager, basically the lowest man on the totem pole in the room when the meetings were held, he was not disciplined. And Gary Bettman had, I know people have their quibbles with him. I thought he had a pretty good quote. He said, while on some level it would be easiest to paint everyone with any association to this terrible matter with a broad brush, I believe fundamental fairness requires a more in-depth analysis of the role of each person. I thought that was important because I think a lot of people are kind of getting thrown out with a lot of things that people really don't know. If you read any of the report, there was a definite Rashomon quality about it where everybody sort of had their own version of the story. So, for people to conclude that someone absolutely did or didn't do something, I don't know. I don't know that's necessarily the best way to take it. But either way, Joel Quenneville out, Scott Bowman out. Huge fucking story. Biz, Whit, I don't know if you guys, which one of you wants to jump
in? All right,
first?
I got to correct you. It's Kevin Cheveldayoff, not Tim, and it's Stan Bowman, not Scott. So you're -2, but Biz, do you want to go ahead?
It's just like I'm sure your mind scrambled a little bit too already because
of course. I just had to.
Yeah, no, of course.
I know.
It's like one of those things where you're just like your heart aches even having to talk about it, and just like some colossal mistakes by the organization, the way they handled it, and obviously not dealing with it when it was presented to them in the first place, and then essentially forcing this kid to have to live out the experience that he had with the organization publicly, just so anybody would have to listen to him. Like, it's just, it's brutal, guys. And it's probably the worst decision those guys could have ever made at that time, and it's probably going to haunt them a long time. As far as the kid's concerned, like, I just hope that he's able to like find some sort of peace, and I hope that the organization drops this lawsuit and the back and forth. Like, at this point, write him a check, apologize till the end of time, and just make this not have to be any more embarrassing than I'm sure it was for him to have to come out and live this publicly. And I commend him on his strength for doing so. Never should it have been a situation where a coach was interacting with a player like that. And the fact that not only was it colossally mishandled at the time, there were consequences to not handling it properly at the time as well, because then the guy ended up going over to work with a different team and had another issue. And apparently that was with a minor. So it's as ugly as it gets. I can't remember a story this shitty coming out in the hockey world. And I think that everybody who, was let go was done so for a reason. And, when you're in those positions of power, guys, you're hoping that, you are in those positions because you're going to make the right decision when those decisions have to come to be. And to put that really above winning, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, deal with the video coach and get him out of that environment, and then the professionals can handle it. Besides that, the protecting it to not disrupt the morale of the team heading in. And I would imagine, and is it fair to say that was probably the main reason as to why they didn't want to bring this up anywhere? They wanted to make sure this team was focused going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And like, when you're talking about the incident at hand, based on trying to go win a Stanley Cup, you're just like, this is like an unbalanced scale at this point. With
Yeah, there's so many different thoughts that come to my mind. And the first is, feel so bad for the kid. And, you know, to have he was drafted very high. I think he had over 50 goals his last year in junior, right? He's a black ace on a team that's going for a Stanley Cup. I mean, at that point, it's really hard to say this kid didn't have a very bright future. And now his career did not pan out. And you see articles written at the time when he was finally away from the Blackhawks. What a bust, blah, blah, blah. Little did anyone know what the kid had gone through. And it is disgusting to see that in the end, it was all about, we're on the road to winning the Stanley Cup. We just beat San Jose in the Western Conference Finals. We can't deal with this shit right now. Dude, what the hell would have been the issue if you fire a fucking scumbag creep video coach? Who cares? Gas him right then. Now, maybe, I don't know, maybe legally you can't, but like in the end, like you cannot ignore it. No chance, no how. And I am so proud to say that I am friends and for a long, long time have been very close with Paul Vincent. Paul Vincent was a former police officer. He's from Massachusetts. He's probably the only goddamn person in this whole story who handled the thing correctly. And he made a big difference this summer when this entire thing came out in terms of being the guy spearheading. Listen, this is what this kid told me. I told the people above me and nothing was done. So good on Paul Vincent. Joel Quenneville, listen, what do people say? What do you try to teach your kids? And I've been a victim of this when I was younger. A lot of times it is not the action what you get in trouble for. It is the covering up of the action. And Joel Quenneville to come out this summer and say that he didn't know anything about this is fucking wild. That's a blatant lie. Yeah. And Beach tweeted it right away. He said that is a full-blown lie that Joel Quenneville is trying to say he didn't know anything about that. So if Quenneville comes out and says like, yeah, we didn't do it right and I did, you know, like, who knows? Maybe he's still coaching the Panthers. But if you blatantly get caught in a lie like that later on, 10 years down the line, I mean, you're done. You're done. And for him to have, reading the report is difficult, right? It's a law document that's like 100 pages. It's like, I read through it, but mind you, I'm not a great reader, let alone reading like very official lawyer speak type words. For the most part, there's times in there that say like Quenneville's like, we got a Stanley Cup to win. We can't be dealing with this right now. It's like, this kid was sexually assaulted. Like, what the fuck are you talking about Stanley Cup, dude? Like, what are we doing here? And I'm going to say right now, I've had some discussions with different friends and I've thought about it myself. And I'm going to bring it up because there are many people out there who have said this video coach, this scrawny rat, was 5'6", 125 pounds, and Kyle Beach at the time was 6'3", 210 pounds. And there's a lot of people out there who say, what are you doing? Fucking punch the guy, do something. And it's unfair. It's unfair to say that because the power dynamic thing is a scary thing. And you can be somebody who knows in your heart of hearts that you would never allow it to happen to you. The guy could be 6'9", 280 or 5'6". It doesn't matter. You would go down swinging, punching, biting, whatever it takes to not be sexually assaulted. But not everyone in the world is like that. And if you're a kid and I do not know Kyle Beach, but if you're somebody who's maybe not very confident or maybe really nervous about where he's at in his career and just a different type of person, you could really be affected by a guy telling you, I'll ruin your whole fucking career. And so in a sense, like, yeah, man, you could have fought him back, but you don't know this kid. You don't know the situation he was in.
It's an unfair take.
And it's just not right to say because I wouldn't allow it. It's like, well, not everyone's the same. And in the end, this dude was drafted and he was part of an organization and he's a black ace and he's watching this team go around and try to win a Stanley Cup. And in the end, like he could look at it like his whole life was kind of ruined. I mean, it's nuts. And nobody knows what happened that night, but you got to believe this kid. And once this dude went on to fucking assault somebody else, a minor, that's what makes it so sick. And that's RA, you're right. That's the hardest part about watching Beach's interview is that he even felt bad. He even felt bad about feeling like somewhat at fault that somebody else got assaulted. So just a horrible time to be in hockey. And, let me tell you, like, in terms of like Quenneville's statement, Bowman's statement, a lot ends up going back to this John McDonough, who is, from what I've heard, one of the biggest fucking assholes to ever be involved in pro sports. I'm talking a full-blown goon that I've never heard a good word about. No word of a lie. And if you know Chief Barstool from Chicago, he has 3 different blogs describing how much of a rotten clown goon this John McDonough was. So he's not with the organization anymore, right? So he has not spoke. He has not said a thing. In listening to Elliot and Merrick talk about this subject, they mentioned, who knows, they could end up going after his salary that they paid him from 2010 on till when he was gone. But in the end, it sounds like he had a lot to do with this as well, in terms of everyone told him he didn't do shit. So a lot of people,
the buck stopped with him, and he did nothing.
But I will say though, if it's like hindsight, right? Like when you're at that age and you hear that, and I understand that you're in the midst of a Stanley Cup run, when you hear like, oh, I'm going to handle it, you just don't stop really thinking about it at that second. You're more like, well, like, how are we handling this?
Like, handle it right now.
The guy is inside of our locker room, and he's interacting with all of us, and he's part of this team at this point. So at that point, that's where it's like, well, I'm handling it. It's like, well, they're all going to be aware of how it's handled. That guy is still in the locker room as essentially a coach. And, one of the tough things that Kyle said was the fact that when he made them aware of it after the fact, to not only see him on the ice celebrating with the Stanley Cup at the parade, he ends up getting a day with the cup and getting his name engraved on the thing. It made him feel like he didn't even exist. Everything that he just brought to the team, they just completely ignored. And that guy got to go continue to live his life, and he got basically shriveled away. And guys, we're trying to make this a conversation, because there's still plenty of elements to this that have trickled out and people are very upset about. And in light of this news, some people are not so happy with some of the players. Now, let me just describe to you the dynamic of a black ace and the main team. This is in the midst of a playoff run. If you're a black ace, there is little to no interaction with the main team itself. There's some stories going around that like some of the players knew, and some of the players on the team have even came out and said that they were aware of this situation. To what degree?
Current players continuing to play.
No current players
guys
that are
retired.
There's guys who are retired. To which degree and level of what they knew involving the situation, I don't know. But apparently, some media members want to go after some of the players and continue to grill them until they find out whether they were, not only did they know at the time, but I guess now they're saying in training camp, comments were made to the player the following season about the incident and his interaction with Brad Aldrich. Now, I don't know, guys. No more information on that has came out. Correct, RA? Like, none of the players have really spoken up, other than the fact they're like, we were unaware that these were the details of the story.
Yeah, I don't think people really talk specifics. I know, Taves and Kane made statements, and, they wish they maybe handled things different. But even then, they didn't really get into specifics of what they heard, or they didn't really convey what was conveyed to them. So, that's the other thing too, is you don't know how, even like the players, they said they were, like saying stuff to them in the practice and stuff, some of them. And I wonder, like, what was conveyed to these guys? Like, was the same information conveyed? Was it a rumor? And, and that's where I like going back to Bettman's quote where, maybe you shouldn't assume everybody here did the worst thing. And I'm not defending anybody. I have no skin in this game.
Right.
But, I just think that to make a blanket, anyone to do with this should be dead and buried, and the Wirtzes should sell the team. And by the way, I did omit that detail early. The report found no evidence at all that the Wirtzes were told about the incident, which, if you know people covering things up, that's not a surprise to not tell the bosses. I wanted to throw that there. And I did also forget to mention that Stan Bowman, not Scott, Stan Bowman also wrote his Team USA GM. So, like you guys said it.
It's a little off subject. I'm just thinking about like this last week and few days, and since this news is all broken, how in the world did Joel Quenneville coach that game against the Bruins? We didn't know what was going to go down. He had the meeting with Bettman the next day. I think the meeting was on a Friday, and they played Thursday. Just let's not have you coach tonight and wait to see how this all figures out. For that report and that Kyle Beach interview to come out and him to coach the next day was beyond bizarre. I tweeted it out. Crazy town that the Florida ownership decided that, like, yeah, let's have him coach tonight. What a weird move. So that was another thing. It's just like, sometimes there's so much more than winning a hockey game. It's like, it goes back to the beginning of this. It's like, these are human beings. Things matter. These things are what it's all about. And you cannot look past people being affected with horrible actions to just like always be thinking about, we got to win the game. Like, holy shit. Like, read the room a little bit. So in terms of the players that were there, I know I'm talking about like Quenneville mentioning, we got a Stanley Cup to win. We don't need this right now going into the Cup final. Like, I don't know, man. Like, these guys are playing in games. Like, what are they going to, like, if Jonathan Taves knew, what's he going to say? Like, we're not playing? Like, it's a way different ball game for players dealing with black aces. Do I say dealing with? Does that sound bad? I don't know. But Biz says it best. You don't even see black aces. They're not even in the same locker room. They're not. It's unfair for people to be going after players on that team. And I believe it's Sopel and Nick Boynton have come out and said that every single person knew. But then a lot of guys say they didn't know anything until rumors they heard next training camp. So it's a true he said, she said. Holy shit. He said, she said.
Yeah, he said, she said. And like when it comes to that, like it's, if for the people that were completely aware of the entire situation, and then obviously it's boiled over to this point, like, those people are going to have to live with that decision that they made. And this is like, but the fact that the management and everybody at top was clearly aware of this and didn't act appropriately, it has caused colossal damage. And some of which, like when you go to Kyle, like this changes life forever. Like it's not, and then it had to all be made public because they kept trying to deny it.
It puts a stench on the entire Stanley Cup. It's got this weird. I'm not saying those guys didn't deserve winning that Stanley Cup by any means, but forever when NHL fans and Blackhawks fans look back to the first Stanley Cup that dynasty won of the three, it's got an ugly stench on it, and that's a fact.
RA, I'm going to ask you, like, they're talking about, I don't know if they've done it yet, removing that Brad Aldrich's guy's name.
Yeah,
or some people also said put X's through it just to kind of remind everybody of the stain and what's going to happen? Do you know?
Glad you mentioned that too. Yeah, that was the other thing. Rocky Wirtz sent the letter and requesting his name to be X'd out. And I mean, yeah, I think there's enough evidence. I mean, this isn't a court of law. This isn't like, you need a preponderance of evidence. I think there's enough for the NHL or the Hall of Fame or whoever decides to take a name off the cup. I mean, they did it with the owner of the Oilers when he put his dad's name on for no reason. They X'd it out. And that's a pretty fucking, that's a pretty easy reason to take it out. So if this guy is already a convicted sex offender, predator, I don't see how it could really be an issue for the whoever decides to take the name off to take it off. I mean, they've done it before. They've made corrections. And again, the one I just mentioned, the guy put his dad on and they took it off because he shouldn't have been there. Well, you could say this guy had the role in the cup, but it would be send a good message maybe for future teams and future front offices to pay attention to this shit. And who's going to care? Like, other than that guy, who's going to give a fuck if they X his name off the cup? I won't. You won't. I don't think anyone will.
No. Yeah. Obviously, I think most people would want the thing removed. I guess just, we got to summarize by saying, I know sometimes we get caught up in the dialogue of the whole situation, but we don't want it we don't want it to be overlooked that our sympathy goes out to Kyle Beach and showing all that bravery and having to deal with everything that he's dealt with. Like, that's just like, I don't really know how else to summarize all of it.
Nobody should have to go through that, the experience and in the aftermath, Paul. Like, he did, quote unquote, the right thing. He went through the right channels. Whit mentioned Paul Vincent, who went above and beyond and did what a normal person you would think would do. And people failed them. Like I said, the lawyers, the quote from the lawyers, nothing was done. And I think that sums it up. Nothing was done by the Blackhawks. So,
and if you guys want to go read the whole transcript, it's very graphic. It's, as Whit said, you almost got to like put it down a bunch of times to get through it. But you'd find out a lot more of the details of it in there, and I'm sure you can make your own assessment for yourself of how bad this was.
And just a couple other notes on this story. I just mentioned Bowman lost his Team USA GM gig. Well, Bill Guerin's going to take over that. And we mentioned Taylor Hall earlier. He called out, you don't often hear players in their post-game presses. I don't know how many guys were asked about it that night because the news was fresh about Quenneville losing his job. But, Taylor Hall called out the quote, the old boys club. He talked about the secrecy and saying that things need to change. It was just a lot more forward than I think we're used to hearing from players in the NHL. Like, just to even say the word old boys club, we don't even hear guys say that enough, I don't think.
Yeah, all right. Actually, I think it's best if we maybe throw it to the audio first, and I can mention what I think after.
Yeah, I mean, our hearts go out to Kyle Beach. We were playing junior at a similar time, and it's just so unfortunate that he had to go through that. And I think everyone, we were talking about it last night, everyone just feels terrible for him, and hope that he can get some solace in the end of this.
It's a reminder of what hockey culture needs to be.
No, I mean, every culture needs to keep getting better, and hockey's no different. This is a game that's a little bit of a, I guess what you would call an old boys club, and there's definitely some secrecy and things that need to change, and hopefully they can. You never want to think of an incident like this, positives coming from it, because it's been so terrible, but there needs to be changes, and unfortunately people need to be held accountable.
So for the most part, you hear the word and the term old boys club used when talking about coaches and how they recycle the same goddamn coaches over and over, and GMs, and you can't get any new blood in. And it's certainly starting to change. But I think Halsey in this sense means like the old way of like, we just got to win games. Who fucking cares? It's all about winning. It's all about keeping things hush hush. It's like some things are just so much more important and go so beyond the game of hockey that you cannot constantly be pushing things under the rug that in the end truly affect people at the time and later on in life. So I was also pretty impressed by Sheldon Kennedy, who's been a former victim of sexual assault, spoke out and really kind of thanked Kyle Beach in a way in terms of how many people he may help by coming forward and giving that interview. So that was another factor here. And like Biz said, very well, it's a horrible story, and you hope this kid can maybe now feel a little better and kind of try to move on as best as he can. But a tough look for the Blackhawks.
No doubt. And I think when he talks about that, I think of like the nepotism with the cronyism, the payback of favors, these guys, more than coaches, like the whole front office and GMs, just these guys have been around the game for 40, 50 years and, still think of that era.
Yeah.
But anyways, boys, all right, we can, I think, move on. I think we all could use a drink or two or three or four after doing that segment, and we'll do that after the show. But we want to let you know that No Days Wasted is here to make sure you wake up feeling your best after a night of boozing. Everybody knows Dhm Detox is backed by science and designed to break down the toxins and get you feeling fresh the next morning. It's the vitamin for when you drink. No more feeling like a bag of bricks the next day after drinking. Biz, I was going to ask you, I knew you didn't do too much partying with Halloween.
Well, you were kind of going through the ad read. I'm like, oh, you're doing pretty good here. But usually I step in with the DHM Detox. They got a bunch of products, folks. Great ones. The hydration replenisher. That's for the day after when you're low on the sodium and you need all those electrolytes in order to reboost. I actually drink those every day. I put some in my water just to get the salt back in there after exercising. But what they did create is a pill called the Dhm Detox Pill. Okay. It's the vitamin for people that drink. You consume it while you're drinking. If you're going to take up to 10 drinks, you take one pack. There's 2 pills in there. You just ask the waitress, hey, do you mind bringing over a glass of water? Boom, 2 down the hatchet. They break down the toxins of the alcohol before they get to your liver. This is not some gimmick. This is actual science backed. Okay. I forget the name of the actual thing that breaks down the toxins of the alcohol. And if you want me to fucking pronounce the word, it's going to be harder to say than Cockney for me. Okay.
So you go read. You just got it right.
Oh, is that how you say it? Holy shit. And for that, ladies and gentlemen,
wow.
Biz is having
promo code.
Biz20 promo code at the fact that I just nailed that fucking dismount. So go to DHM Detox, No Days Wasted. That's what they are on social media now. They got a rebrand because they got the umbrella of all these amazing products. No Days Wasted, DHM Detox, Hydration Replenisher, Biz20 promo code for 20% off. And RA, what do you want to finish with?
NoDaysWasted.co. .com.co. So NoDaysWasted.co, promo code Biz20 for 20% off. One more time for the people in the back. That's NoDaysWasted.co for No Days Wasted after drinking with Biz20.
It's called dehydromyricetin. is what breaks it down. These pills got thiamine, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, sodium, potassium. I'll tell you what, guys, I give this away at weddings. I did so a couple summers ago, and even this past summer in Vancouver.
Kind of a cheap gift, Biz.
No, I don't. I hand it out for all the people getting pickled at the wedding. Imagine a 10-pack of this as a wedding gift. That would be.
That's what Biz gets his girl for Christmas. She's like, free.
But I'll get text the next day. Hey, what was that product you gave me at the wedding? It works. So
I actually get more of all the ads we do. I get more questions about this product right here because does it really work? Yes. No days wasted. It literally does. Give it a shot. And it's interesting to see how many people just want to find out truly how much it can help.
Okay, we've talked long enough about this, so we got to end the ad read. But the hydration replenisher, you just came out with new flavors. They had watermelon, they got lemon lime now. They got a couple other ones coming out. So check it out. nodayswasted.co.
Hey, honey, I bought you these Roman swipes for Christmas. I hope you like them.
He's like, I might. You finally last more than 2 seconds. All right, you cheap prick.
Yes, y'all like a grandfather who tells the same story at every wedding. Oh, I was at this wedding. I gave everybody their Dhm Detox. Same old.
I am a grandpa. Buddy. I sit at home all day.
Oh, wait a minute.
I got my slippers.
Is he in Wheeling, West Virginia, your grandson?
What do you mean? Oh! So all the seeds I was planting when I was with the Wheeling Nailers.
I don't know. I mean,
anyway, we can move on.
Okay, yeah, we can move on and talk about the fun aspects of the NHL and the Carolina Hurricanes. After 3 weeks of play, like I said in the intro, the only team that is yet to lose a game, 8-0-0. A large part of that, Freddie Anderson, 7-0, 129 goals against, 9.56 save percentage, a shutout, and an assist. He had an assist and stopped all 33 shots he faced for his first Kane shutout, becoming the second goalie in franchise history to have an assist and a shutout in the same game. Artur Zerbe did it back in 2002 versus Boston. But, of course, it's Carolina. They're getting tons of contributions up front. Svechnikov, Aho, Tony DeAngelo on the back end, Trocheck, Teravainen, and Slavin, all these guys getting it done. Tony D had a little scrap too busy. He might have got a little low blow in there too, huh?
The old dick punch. When's the last time we saw a dick punch in the NHL?
When's the last time Matt Cook played?
Did you end up seeing it, Whit, the dick punch?
I saw the dick punch. I was just racking my brain. I can't think of another dick punch in the NHL in the last 10 years. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but you don't see them. They're not very common.
How did he miss his head by that far?
Well, he didn't miss his head by that much.
Which one? Well, we don't know what country he's from, so.
Get it, Biz? Get it? Or do you not get it because you have a large amount of skin overhanging the head of your penis?
Oh, it hurts when you get punched right in the top of the head.
Unless you got a Cooper helmet.
Well, there's another fucking advantage for having a toque on it. Carolina Hurricanes. You know what I think of when I think of Freddie Anderson? I think of the guy who he had a nice girlfriend in high school, and he was going off to uni, and they decided to part ways. And he ended up going to Anaheim for a little bit and seeing all the fish in the sea, and then he found that absolute rocket launcher in the Leafs. The 10 out of 10, but maybe the girl who's a little bit of a headache.
Maybe clingy.
Maybe a little clingy, asking you what you're always up to, why you hanging out with the boys. And then meanwhile, in her spare time, she's getting double teamed by some guys on the football team. Right. And what happens now is he's done his college days, and he's found his one true love. He's gotten back with his high school sweetheart. He was drafted by the Carolina Hurricanes, and he has rekindled the love, and it is absolutely stunning to see. And I'm so happy for him. He's gotten rid of that toxic ex-girlfriend. And I'm not talking about the guys in the room, Whit. I'm talking about the people that you were talking about, that toxic fucking fan base that was ragging on him and ragging on him and ragging on him. Well, guess fucking what? He's back to his old ways with his high school sweetheart, and he's happy. And you guys are mostly still miserable. So that's the only way I could describe what's happening with Freddie Anderson right now. That just kind of came to my mind.
I completely understand what you're saying. I like the analogy. He was also battling injuries. The guy couldn't stay healthy. It's hard to produce when you're injured. You're in and out of the lineup. You got moron fans dogging you every bad game you have. And all of a sudden, we've talked to players before that have moved on from Canadian markets. We actually interviewed Connor Garland today, similar type scenario where he's the opposite, of course, but you go from this enormous, that made no sense, but you go from this enormous, crazy, hockey-centric banana land market where every single thing you do on and off the ice is just under a microscope, and you get to Carolina, where not only are you on a better team, but you got 3 reporters in the room as opposed to 27 after every single practice. So I think the relaxation, the whole North Carolina Southern mindset that maybe Freddie Anderson's enjoying right now, it makes life easier. And now it is not fair to say that it is all about the fans and all about the media and how much different your mental mind can be when you're in a market that doesn't put so much pressure on you constantly, because we do have to mention how much better the Hurricanes are.
Oh, yeah, that too. That too.
That does end up factoring into this. And you know what? Good for Tony DeAngelo, because he's looked phenomenal. He's over a point per game right now. He's running the first power play unit. And it's funny because they didn't want to pay Dougie Hamilton $9.5 million. Well, now you got DeAngelo doing the same exact thing at not even remotely close to the same
Haven't
price
missed
tag.
Dougie at all, man.
And I know there's been stories and there's been different instances of Tony DeAngelo maybe not being the best teammate, certainly having some issues. Well, I'll also say this. If he was a left-leaning Joe Biden superfan, people would not talk about him the same way they do. Okay? That's a fact. So now he's in a market where he's obviously doing a better job in keeping his mouth shut and staying away from the bullshit and the stuff that's gotten him in trouble before. And he's also producing on the ice. So I've talked about Slavin till I'm red in the face of how underrated and how good of a player he is. Quick reminder for everyone who forgets. The guy had 1 penalty last year, playing over 20 minutes a game against every other team's top line, and it was for delay a game. So this dude is a top-notch, true number one defenseman.
Get him out of the league.
What?
I said, goon, get him out of the league.
Beat it. So
he's not dick punching anyone?
No, he's not hitting anyone in the head. He's not hitting anyone in the shaft. He's not hitting anyone in the balls. He's staying all away from the private areas when it comes to punching. But it's a great team. It's an awesome team that is a legit Stanley Cup contender. And if Anderson keeps playing like this, Toronto Maple Leafs fans might completely lose their mind, because I don't necessarily think he can keep these numbers up. But even if it's a fraction of this, they got a goaltender in Carolina. And this is after a summer where everyone, including me, was all over them for just getting rid of Nedeljkovic. Maybe they knew exactly what they were doing, but when you look at the forwards and you look at up front.
So what you're saying is Yzerman isn't that intelligent.
Well, he's baked.
Stoned out of his good.
No, I don't think I'm dogging Yzerman one bit. I think he got a nice young goalie at Nedeljkovic. I'm just saying that Carolina maybe wasn't foolish to get rid of him, is more what I'm saying. So you can reach for that, but I know Vinny Trocheck real well. I've mentioned I played with him in the minors before. He shot to stardom with Florida, ended up getting injured, struggling a little bit. He's found his way in Carolina, and just Aho, game breaker, one of the best, most enjoyable players for me to watch in the NHL. And Teravainen's awesome, those two together, and I just love Svechnikov. So
we just named their whole roster, so I guess I'll play cleanup here. Rob Brindamore.
I can continue to go if you want me to.
Well, hey, guys, we just had Brady Shea on last pod.
Yeah.
Great interview. Super chill guy. I'm going to bend him over in a sandbagger pretty soon. It starts at the top. And when you got your coach doing the fucking Wingate in training camp before all the players just to pass, so if you don't pass, you feel like a pathetic loser, that's where the tone is set. And they were undefeated in the month of October. Their fan base is completely full of storm surges, and they are a wagon, and probably, in my opinion, the best team in the National Hockey League right now.
What a crazy reach there, Biz.
You mean the team that hasn't lost yet?
The team that's 8-0-0. Wow. Hey,
print
guys,
the shirts, Grinelli.
Quote that one, Grinelli.
Put it on the quote board. Paul Bissonnette believes that the Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the National Hockey League. You're welcome. You heard it here first, folks.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's why I make the big bucks.
And they're fun to watch.
TNT.
They really are one of those teams that you throw on, and the games are often entertaining.
Oh, Thursday night they put a whooping on the Bruins. It was like, all right, this is and you know, at home it looks even tougher to play against them. So
the takeaways being that Yzerman isn't as good as everybody thinks, and Carolina is in fact the best team in the NHL. So great little summary there, folks. What do we got next? All right.
Keeping down south, the Florida Panthers still humming along as well. Of course, we mentioned they lost coach Joe Quenneville. He resigned after all the shit that went on in Chicago. Andrew Brunette took over as coach. They beat Detroit Friday night. I don't know if you guys, did you watch that game? Any of you guys Friday night, Detroit?
So there was a few wild sequences. Is that what you're going to bring up?
The Butchergrass.
We have to, even the audio itself is entertaining. Grinelli, can you please roll the audio?
On the point, rips it and blocked, and down goes Ernie. He's stunned. Panthers control again. Aronik, nice hit in the corner. That room shot, another block. Oh, Ernie, crash test dummy. One-timer, another block. Down goes Fabry, and Fabry again. Shot, save the Dalkovich. What is happening? Puck's in front, it is loose. To the corner, what crazy action. Shot, block shot again, and the broken stick. Montour saved the Dalkovich. That's the craziest sequence I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, Butchergrass, I think he's been fucking doing a great job so far for ESPN. He did a perfect job of explaining the chaos that was going on the ice, like block shot. Like he was just going bananas because it was what was going on the ice. It was a fantastic game, man. It was highly entertaining. Detroit's one of these teams that, nobody gave much of a shot at. They played with a lot of spunk, a lot of fire this year, but we're on the Panthers right now. They keep rolling along, Biz, 8-0-1. 17 points that leads the league. They've only lost one game, and that was a shootout to Boston on Saturday. By the way, both teams did honor our pal Jimmy Hayes before the game. The Bruins had hazy shirts on. Panthers had Broadway shirts on. That was nice to see. But the story in Florida, same thing in Carolina, I guess, goaltending. Bobrovsky, 6-0, 181 goals against, 944 save percentage. And Spencer Knight's only been in a couple games, but 195 goals against, 929 save percentage. And again, similar to Carolina, they're big guns getting it done. Huberdeau, Barkov, Ekblad has been a huge return for Florida. So let's go to you, Biz. What do you got?
Well, doing what he's done off of injury is amazing. I know we've talked about them since our preview, in knowing that this team was going to be at the top of the division, competing with what we thought was going to be the Lightning. But this has been a wacky start to the season, but just contributions from everyone. And there are some rumblings right now, and not to take anything away from the team, that Torts might be the guy to take over. Now, have you guys heard that, Cotwin? I want to say even Kevin Weeks might have touched on it.
He tweeted it the night that Quenneville lost his job. I don't know if he meant like talking later down the line or as the interim, but I mean, obviously they brought in Brunette, but obviously we'll keep our eyes on it.
And part of me, what makes me question it, and I think Torts is definitely the type of guy that you could bring in mid-season that could, take on that type of role. But it would concern me in the fact that your starting goalie, who's had all this success and who did have some success under Torts, I don't know exactly how that relationship was left. And do you think it would maybe mess with Bobrovsky's head a little bit? And this isn't stirring up any rumors as to their reputation. I just don't know how long that they got along towards the end and how much animosity there might have been at the fact that he left for the dough. And on top of that, I think Duclair liked him a bit, but he was definitely getting the playing time that he's getting now. And Duclair has finally found this home that he enjoys, where he wasn't able to really find it anywhere else. He did have that early success with the Coyotes. I think he had a 20-goal season, but what he's doing in Chicago, folks, he's completely rejuvenated his career. So I don't know what that type of adding that type of coach, how much that would shake up not only those few guys but the entire group. And it seems like this guy the Brunette, who's taken over, probably has a pretty good pulse on the group, and the fact that he's been there, for however long he has, and really knows the feng shui, so to speak, of the group. Whit, is that a good point? Much like Hurricanes being the best in the league, or what?
Yeah, I feel like, Crosby to the Avalanche, and Torts didn't get the Florida job because Bobrovsky said no. It's Biz, you're on fucking fire tonight, buddy. You know what's up? It's a really good. It is a really good point, though, in terms of like, there's one side of me that thinks Torts could be the perfect guy to come in, because this is like not going to say a veteran team, but it's a team that they got some leaders who've been there a little bit. Huberdeau, Barkov, Ekblad, they've been there quite a while now. The team's really kind of finally turned the page. Look like it's one of the top teams in the league. So it's not like Torts is going to have to completely change how the team's playing, right? He can come in and fix a broken team. Well, he doesn't need to fix anything. He just needs to come in and keep this train rolling. And then the other side, and what you say is Duclair's like, no. And Bobrovsky's like, niet. And in the end, maybe that could be a killer. Now, they still have Spencer Knight, who most people thought would end up being the starting goalie. But I think in the end...
Oh, yeah, Torts will make him the starting goalie.
Torts could be a good coach for this team. It's like at the beginning, it's always great with them. It's later on when guys are like, I can't stand this mean person anymore yelling at me all the time, telling me I stink. Now,
keep in mind, though, like, you say, like, just come on in and keep it running till, like, there's a couple bad games and a couple bad turnovers, and next thing you know, a vein pops on his forehead, and you hear a Torts post-game press conference where he goes on a 10-minute rant. And I know that he's like
chirping Barkov, and everyone's like, "What are you doing, dude?"
What I respect about Torts is you could tell from, like, when he, like, originally started till when he finished with the job in Columbus, it seems as though he definitely toned her down progressively, where he wasn't the same old Torts where he was snapping as much as he was.
He told him, you got to relax, John.
Yeah, the blood pressure was a little high. I would just find it not humorous for Florida, but from an entertainment perspective, if all of a sudden they hire Torts and then next thing you know, Bobrovsky ends up with an 800 save percentage. Like,
yeah,
it's got to be in the back of their minds, or the back of all of our minds from the fandom perspective.
And I think it's 6 more years of Bobrovsky, right? My question is, so Brunette takes over as head coach, and any coach you bring in is not coaching currently, okay? So why not just give Brunette 10 games? Like
that. Well, that's the interim tag. That's kind of, I think that's probably what they're doing.
No, I know, but from the words and noise I'm hearing from insiders is that they'll 100% bring someone else in. It's like, why is that a definite? Whereas, like, what if this guy's awesome? What if the guys love playing for him? I know they had the one loss to the Bruins, but it was a shootout loss. By the way, Duclair scored such a sick goal in that game. When he's going, dude, his speed and skill, it's crazy. And I think he's basically been a 20 goal scorer the last 3 years. And yeah, that's a guy that's really rounded out this team. I brought up Bennett every time we talk about this team. The offense continues.
Yeah, Reinhart. You're just going to name the whole forward group like Carolina?
Reinhart's quiet.
Are we going to go through the whole roster again?
What?
I said, are you going to name the forward group like you did Carolina?
Well, what I do, Biz, when talking about teams is talk about the players on the team. So I don't know. Will you want me to fucking talk about the training staff?
More Torts. All right. Who do you want to talk about? Torts or the players?
I'm a big Torts guy.
What do you think the play is here, RA? Do you give this guy 10 games and allow him to feel out the group to see what he can do, and then they go 10-0 and then they still hire Torts? What do you do?
Yeah, I think 100%. I mean, he's already familiar with the team. He's been, behind the scenes type of jobs, assistant coaching jobs, scouting jobs. This guy knows the league. He put a fucking bow on Patrick Roy's career. So yeah, give him 10 games, 12 games. And if he has the knack for the job, then fuck, there's your coach right there. You don't have to go find a new one. And, I think it's a guy like him deserves a shot. He's a hockey lifer. He's been around a long time. I mean, what do you got to lose? If you don't like what you see after a dozen games, then bring in Torts and fucking sink Bob.
The traditional.
What about Hitch, Biz?
I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, I was trying to say
guys.
Traditionalists. That's a tough one. I'm not going to use that one much more. Like the hockey guy in me. I want to see them do well as a group. I want to see him get the interim tag removed, become the head coach, and then they go on this crazy run. The fan who wants the drama. Jans watches those shows where it's like 16 and pregnant, wants the drama. I want the 16 and pregnant of the league. I want Torts to be the coach of the what?
Reality TV.
I know. I'm just laughing.
No, that's a show, all right. It's called 16 and pregnant.
I know. I'm just laughing. You fucking reference it. That's all. I know. I'm familiar with it. I know.
That's what Whit watches. He watches the Kardashians and all that shit. Right, Whit?
Bravo's always on in my house. I'm a big Southern Charm guy. By the way, as I talked about, like, maybe facetiously bringing up the Florida Panthers trainer, Teddy Richards, Biz.
Oh, yeah.
He did his 1500th game.
Good call.
So Teddy Richards was the assistant to Doomy in Wilkes-Barre, and that was back. When was that? 18 years ago now. And he's worked his way up. He's the head guy in Florida now. A phenomenal guy. Great at his job. He's gotten all the way to the top of the NHL. He's got 1,500 games. So good for him. Congrats to Teddy.
And his brother,
Josh Head.
Josh Head Richards.
He wrestled for a while, I believe.
Yeah, he wrestled on the underground, did the barbed wire, the tacks on the ground. He was hardcore.
Head would suplex you.
He had we call him Josh Head Richards because this guy had the biggest melon. Peyton Manning times 2. I don't think there was a hockey helmet on the planet that would have fit his head. You would have had to go to the Pennsylvania recycling plant to mold every fucking square inch of plastic in the entire state of Pennsylvania to make him a Jofa bucket. No offense, Josh.
None taken.
So back to his brother. He was awesome for us in Wilkes-Barre, got bumped up to Pittsburgh, ended up moving on to Florida, and an unbelievable guy, type of guy you want in the locker room. And our boy Yan's got to spend a little time with him with him in Florida as well. So congrats on 1,500, Teddy.
One last note on the Panthers. Jumbo Joe got his first with Florida, 426th goal of his career. I think he's been getting about 10, 12 minutes of ice time per game so far. All right, moving right along. Another team that's been red hot. They lost their first game 5-2, and then they've gotten points in 7 straight since then, including 6 straight wins. Mangiapane and Lindholm, 7 goals each for the Calgary Flames. Absolutely on fire. This great little quote on Mangiapane, 19 goals and 23 points in his last 17 games, dating back to last season and including the World Championships where he won gold and was tournament MVP.
Yeah.
8 of those 19 goals are game winners. This kid is just feeling it right now. Johnny Hockey feeling himself again as well, 11 points in 8 games. And, of course, again, goaltending. I beat the drum all the time. Markstrom playing his ass off right now, 4-1-1 with the 1.33, 9.57 save percentage, 3 shutouts already. He's already got 3 shutouts. And on D, Rasmus Anderson been getting it done. Calgary, one of these teams we didn't know what to expect with, and they're fucking rolling. On Biz.
Oh, you want it, Whit? I was going to take Mangiapane. I was going to take Mangiapane, the bread man of the West. And I don't know how we feel about that. There can't be 2 bread mans, right? There can only be 1 bread man.
Well, he's out playing the other bread man.
That's what I'm saying, baby. That's what I'm saying. And you talk about this kid and the trajectory, my favorite word on the podcast, and where he came from. Play with the Barrie Colts in the OHL.
Organization, Biz. Come on.
What did I say?
Around. You said trajectory is your favorite word. Let's not fuck around, Biz. You're an organization favorite word type.
Well, I was getting to that because he played with the Barrie Colts organization in the OHL. And, we talked about just interviewing Garland, back-to-back 100-point seasons there. Well, ends up getting drafted, I believe, in the 6th round by the Calgary Flames, gets sent to the AHL to start his professional career. Not quite a point-a-game guy, but definitely made an impact. He came back that next year, worked on that, became over a point-a-game player, got his feet wet in the NHL. And what has he done ever since finally establishing himself in the NHL? Every year over year, more points, better production. And then at the end of last season, there was a disappointing year. They played, the 56th game in the North. I thought for sure that was a playoff team in that Northern division. They don't make it. Well, he gets the opportunity to go represent his country overseas. I think they lost the first 3 games in that World Championship. They ended up getting hot. He becomes tournament MVP. I want to say he had 14 points in 7 games. And then off to this start. And mind you, this is a guy, I think he wanted a bigger contract than he got, and he ended up signing a bridge deal. He held out for a little bit. I think he was late to getting to camp at the beginning of last season.
Yep.
And he's bet on himself. He is going to get absolutely paid. He's leading in the clubhouse for the Cy Young right now. He's got 7 goals, no assist. I think 7 goals in 8 games, and has turned himself into quite the player, and just a much added bonus for these other guys that you mentioned, RA, who are stepping up their game. Did I have my fucking doubts on Johnny Hockey? I haven't really seen the same old Johnny Hockey I had in years past the last couple of years. Well,
contract year though.
Personal.
Oh shit, that'll change things, won't it?
Contract, baby.
And Sutter's got the whole team playing well. Fucking Luch is bringing what he brings. They got the goaltending, and I thought that Giordano loss was going to impact them a lot more than it has already. And they came out of the gate a little bit slow, but ever since then, man, they are fucking rolling. And as I said, getting contributions from a lot of guys. And I tell you what, Edmonton might not even be the best team in Alberta at this point, Whit.
You want to bet?
Oh.
You want to bet on who finishes this season with more points, buddy?
I'll bet
The
you who
Edmonton
goes
Oilers
deep.
are the-
I'll bet you who goes deeper in playoffs.
All right.
How
What's our
much?
bet? What's our bet?
All right, you let us know what you think is appropriate.
I mean, you can't go around with a fucking steak dinner. That's always a fucking.
How about this?
With me and Gradelli.
How about this? I'll shave the top of my head like I did in that Peter Mansbiz commercial.
Okay.
You look like bald both.
And I'll
Okay. You shave. All right. Here's the deal.
I can't. But hey, but TNT has to be over. I can't go on TNT.
No. Here's the deal, and this is good. So we got the pink tuxedo if the Oilers win the cup, if the Leafs win the cup, and you got the pre-shoes if the Oilers win the cup on TNT. Now we got Oilers Flames. Flames go further in the playoffs than the Oilers. You have to I have to pierce my big left ear and wear the Barry Bonds cross earring for a month straight. And if the Oilers go further than the Flames, you have to shave the top of your head, legitimately like Peter Mansbiz on TV.
No.
Come on, dude.
Okay.
Man, I'm talking about an ear that sticks out 3 feet with a Barry Bonds cross earring.
Okay, if TNT approves it, I'll do the.
They can't fucking. What are they gonna say? You can't cut your hair like you want, dude? You can sue their ass. That's assault, brother. Hey, here's the thing, Biz.
I need one.
If they both lose in the first round, it's a null bet. If the Oilers win and the Flames lose, you're on the second round coverage at TNT with a fucking bald head up top.
Okay.
And what?
I get a full week to think about it, and the bet becomes null and void if neither team makes it out of the first round. So if Edmonton makes playoffs,
that's the same thing. Oh no. Oh.
So if
you're chickening out on the Flames possibly missing.
No, I'm not chickening out.
How scared of this bet is he, boys? I'm confident.
Fine, fuck it. Let's go.
He now thinks his best team in Alberta might not even get in the playoffs.
I'll go. All right, let's fucking do it then. I'll do it. 1 week.
God. The Barry Bonds earring on this fucking ear of mine could be a goddamn nightmare.
All right, I'll do a week.
The only thing that's not
like
fair is
the cross that Jesus was on.
The only thing that's not fair, Biz, let's do this, is that I only have to wear the earring for a month. Your hair would be, it's like, I think you should have to actually wear the Man Biz thing. So you don't have to actually cut your hair, but you have to wear it on TNT. So you don't because it's unfair because your hair will look like that for months. And I only have the earring for a month.
No, I would just shave my whole head. I get the Giordano back, and that's how we circle the wagon, folks. Talking about the Flames, we're right back. Giordano, I will remember you.
We sing that like every other episode. Hey, I want to talk about D-man. You talked about Gaudreau. Rasmus Anderson, he got a pretty big deal a few years back. Maybe was it last year? All right. I mean, Brunelli, look up Rasmus Anderson's contract. But
I think he makes just under. He just makes just under 5. I believe it's on a 6-year deal.
Okay, yeah, and I think it was maybe signed 2 years ago. But a hard to play against big bear of a defenseman who can log over 20 minutes. He can PK, and right now he's 6 points through 8 games. So he's throwing some offense in the mix. And the fact that like Monahan, what's up, G?
So his contract is a 6-year deal with an AAV of 4.5.
Great job, Biz. When was it signed? When was it signed, Granelli?
The contract was signed January 8th, 2020.
Oh, so it was last year. So I think some people at the time were like, what's this deal? Whereas a lot of Flames fans are like, yeah, we know about this guy. We know what's up with this deal. It was more around the league. Yeah, it's like more around the league. Like people don't know, a quiet shutdown type defenseman, but he's played great. And then on the forward side, like Monahan hasn't really gotten going yet. I think Kachuk's got a little more offense to give, but he's doing his thing, being a rat. And in the end, Gaudreau plays like this on a contract year. Fuck, we talked at the preseason predictions where we all thought they weren't going to do nothing this year, that he could get traded at the deadline. Now, who knows what goes on if the Flames keep rolling like this. But have we had Battle of Alberta yet? I don't think we have.
One. Edmonton won.
Oh, actually, I did know. I just wanted to hear you say that, bitch.
Shut the fuck up. Plenty of I think that's their only loss. And that's when your boy Anderson
5-2 opening night
headbutted Yamamoto. So listen, you can have your hot start to the season, buddy. I watched the last game that they played against Philadelphia, and They looked
Can't
a
wait
little
to
bit
tell- I can't wait-
lackadaisical after
I
their.
can't wait to tell my
their-
wife about the goddamn possibility of a fucking cross earring on my monster.
Dude, that cross. Oof. You can hang
Hey,
Jesus
Austin
on that thing.
Matthews. Austin Matthews ended up getting his ear pierced on the one side. Kind of
Did
has
he?
that. Yeah, he's got the
Yeah,
MJ
Austin
going.
Matthews is an NHL superstar that can dress cool and look like the man no matter what. I'm with a Muppet.
That's true. We'll get you the spray tan so it can match the earring.
Thanks, dude. Yeah,
who else
I just
we
got
gonna
to not
talk
shower
about?
after.
Well, first off, we're going to talk about our friends at Cross Country Mortgage, because Cross Country Mortgage is much like us at Barstool, a people-first group of people. They're dedicated to the fundamentals of mortgage lending, which results in a fast, convenient, and less stressful home financing or refinancing experience. Rates are super low right now, so you don't have to pay the bank more than you need to. And our friends at Cross Country Mortgage make the process as painless and simple as possible to help keep your money in your pocket. So call today for a fast, free quote and a free home valuation just for calling. If you're a homeowner and haven't refinanced lately, you might be leaving thousands, if not tens of thousands, on the table over the life of the loan that could be working for you in other places, like maybe that shed out back or a little roadie with the boys or whatever. Who knows? Either way, go to crosscountrymortgage.com/Barstool to learn more about your future home buying experience or to refinance your current mortgage. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029, all loans subject to underwriting approval, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org, and be sure to tell them that Barstool sent you. Biz, next up on the docket wasn't just one team. It was two teams. It was one game last week, St. Louis versus Colorado. It was the second game between the two since the playoffs last year when Dhm Detox knocked Justin Falk out. Got himself an 8-game sussy. Of course, they played earlier this season. Kadri fought Shen 40 seconds into that first game. Well, this game, he fought Justin Falk 47 seconds into it. Falk ended up getting a 2, 5, and a 10 for instigating. But then we got a snapshot from our buddy Jordan Binnington. There was a little skirmish by the goalie, and he went into Hextall mode. He shot the puck toward Darcy Kemper, and then he skated toward Kadri, and he swung his stick. I mean, he wasn't really close to him. It was probably 3, 4, 5 feet, but both of them got 10-minute misconducts. And Kadri was like, I got no idea, man. All I did was like exchange words. They gave me 10 minutes, but highly entertaining, wild stuff. I know people don't like stick swinging, but I thought it was a great clip. Biz, I know you want to talk about it.
There was a few wild sequences this week. We talked about the one between Florida and Detroit with Buccigross on the call, his organic, like, what is going on? And there was another, what the fuck is going on moment in this game. And St. Louis is not going to forget. Nope. They want retribution every single game they're playing the Avs. And if anything, man, it kind of makes it a level playing field. We know how much more quote unquote superior we thought the Avalanche were coming into this season, but St. Louis seems to be finding a storyline how to go into every game and bring that level of play up. And they've done an unbelievable job of it. Now, kudos to Falk and kudos to Kadri for answering the bell. Great spirited scrap, just like the one was in that first game. Then the scrum ensues later in that game. Binnington, he is a showman. I love Jordan Binnington. Now, folks, if I'm in the other locker room, if I'm in the Avs locker room, I'm motherfucking this guy till the end of time. I'm saying this guy is the biggest fucking loser in the league. I can't wait to fall on him by accident, just like Corey Perry does, just like Nick Kyprios did to fucking Grant Fuhr, all the fucking shenanigans. But let me tell you, one, he doesn't give a fiddler's fuck. He's a Stanley Cup champion. He's got his big contract. You can lick his left nut for all he cares. Okay. And the guys inside that locker room love him even more. And he looks great to start the year. And on top of all those antics, people say, he lost the game. He looked like a clown. He's not Ron Hextall. He can't back it up. He's the dude that would get his face caved in and still be there blowing kisses at you behind the glass while he's bleeding. He's guys, he's a little squirrely. Okay. He's a few sandwiches short of a picnic, but he can stop the puck and he's an absolute gamer and he loves his teammates. And that's why I love him. So I have all day for Jordan Binnington. And other than that, the next game out, shutout against the Hawks. I want to say he played in that next game unless I'm a complete donkey and fuck that up. Can I get a little help here from G?
I mean, if it was the Hawks, it doesn't count. But
Oh.
they look great. I think there's a chance that somebody fights Kadri from the Blues every single time they play this year. Both times, and G's thumbing you up. He did play against the Hawks.
I am on fire this podcast.
Yeah, you're crushing it until you're bald man biz on TNT. But it's been within 40 seconds both times, right? Shen got him the first game and Falk got him because he was actually the guy that he hit in the
warm-ups next game. It's like it's gonna
Slap shot style.
the popcorn vendors are going after him.
And if I was down there, I'd be standing up to them.
The Zamboni driver just ran him over. What the fuck is going on? Yeah.
This is hockey.
Organ starts playing.
The Ice Girls just swings her shovel at his head as he's skating by. The Hawks got rid of their Ice Girls too. Saw that. They used to smell so good skating by the bench.
Anything else, Whit, on the Binnington situation? Now,
No, he's just classic. I mean, he shot the puck at the other team's goalie. You don't see that often.
He did say it was the heat of the moment. I might have taken it a bit too far. I don't want to condone the stick swinging. Having a guy sit in the box for 10 minutes isn't being a good teammate. I definitely don't want kids out there swinging their sticks. So,
I mean, let's remind everyone, we interviewed Binnington at the All-Star game in St. Louis. The dude was sent to the East Coast League and just said no.
yeah, and I think he told
No,
me
You get sent down and you just say no.
he told Martin Brodeur, an NHL Hall of Famer, yeah, no, I'm good.
I don't think so, Marty. Go film another commercial for that.
Listen here, Marty
company.
McFly. Go ride your hoverboard back to the GM's office. I ain't fucking going down.
Oh, you like doing ads for Dollar Rent a Car? Dollar Rent my nutsack because I ain't going down.
It's Enterprise, not
same
Dollarama. Oh, sorry.
Shit. Well, he's
we got to
always
go to
welcome
Nic
here.
Dowd, boys. These guys, we teased Nic Dowd. This is a hell of an interview, all right.
Absolutely. All right, we'll throw it over to Nic Dowd. Let's do it then. Before we do that, we do have a word from one of our favorite sponsors here. Of course, that would be Earnest. Everybody knows that paying off student loans stinks. So why not give Earnest a whirl? Earnest was voted the best student loan refinancing overall by NerdWallet. Earnest has some of the lowest rates, flexible payments, and an in-house team ready to help. With Earnest, you could change your interest rate, get a lower monthly payment, and you never pay fees, not even late fees. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simple monthly payment. With Earnest, it takes only 2 minutes to see what your new rate could be, and there's no credit impact. And right now, Earnest is offering our listeners a $100 cash bonus. Refinance your student loan at earnest.com/chiclets. Not available in all states. Once again, you get a $100 cash bonus when you visit earnest.com/chiclets to refinance your student loan. For the last time, visit earnest.com/chiclets for more details. Not available in all states. Terms and conditions apply. Earnest student loan refinancing made by Earnest Operations, LLC, NMLS number 1204917. California Finance and Law License number 6054788, 535 Mission Street, San Francisco, California, 94105. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses. And now, without further ado, Washington Capitals forward, Nic Dowd. Well, it's a pleasure to welcome our next guest to the show, a 7th-round pick of the Kings back in 2009. He's heading into his 7th NHL season and his 4th with the Capitals. He's just the 3rd Alabama native to play in the NHL and the first of the modern era. He's also the first Alabaman to score a playoff overtime game winner. Thanks so much for joining us on the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Nic Dowd, how's camp going, brother?
It's good. It's been going well, guys. We've been on the road. Road Warriors been on the road for the last 3 games, so it'll be nice to get back home tomorrow against Philly.
And the road is still the day of trips for the preseason, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you guys could ever forget those. Oh.
Those were such a bummer. You're like, wait, we're not going the night before? Just totally forget your roots.
Yeah, we got a ton of guys on the team with kids, so like, you know, when those with kids and families, and it's like obviously guys are getting up early with kids and stuff. So I think those sleep-ins are welcomed when we.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got a newborn. You actually got a pretty wild story about how your wife ended up giving birth, or at least when her water broke. Can you fill us in here?
Yeah, sure.
Congrats, by the way.
He was getting tugged off in a hot tub, weren't you? We're going to keep it real loose here, Dowder.
Yeah.
Just like in the locker room in Manchester, pal.
That's right. I know we should bring Stutzy on for old time's sake.
We should.
You'd love that. Yeah. So, so Lou, my boy's name is Louie. And we were playing a noon game versus the Islanders. And I was getting the body warmed up for my 6 minutes at the time. And and I was sitting in the tub with Carly, and Carly was getting ready for his 32 minutes. And we were just hanging out, and I got out of the hot tub. It was like, I don't know, maybe 10:15 or something. And maybe, I don't know. And just walked out, and I was toweling off, and Tillotson, our hockey ops guy, came up, and he was like, "Hey man, I just got a call from your wife, Paige. I think she's going to have a baby today." And I remember the way he said it. My first instinct was like, "Oh, that's awesome, man! Congrats!" like, because he said, "I think she's gonna have a baby," and I was like, "Cool, man, cool." And we kind of looked at each other. Until he doesn't have kids, I don't have kids, and he was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Should I stay and play the game?" I was like, "Does this stuff happen like right away?" And he was like, "I don't know. I don't know what we should do." And at the time, Reard's, my head coach, was like, he had kids. I'm, the whole process, whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, you got to go." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went in, I got dressed. I'm putting my suit back on. Guys are kind of looking at me like guys in the dry room, and Osh and Hath are in there, and they're both looking at me, and I'm putting my tie on and everything. And they're like, "What are you doing, man?" I was like, "Oh, my Paige is going to have Lou today, and have the kid today." And they're like, "What are you doing putting your tie on?" I was like, "I don't know." So I just put my stuff on. I scrammed. I ran home, like full panic mode. We didn't have anything set up. Lou was a month early. So like we had nothing set up, no like bag or whatever people take to the hospital at the time. And went to the hospital, didn't change out of my suit. So I show up in my suit. My wife's like sitting there on one of those like bouncy balls eating ice chips. And she's like, "Why did you come in your suit?" And I was like, "I don't know. I guess I don't know why I came in my suit." So I show up my suit, we sit down, and then I just ordered some food and waited for Lou to come. That was basically it. But,
hey, that's the life of a fourth liner, eh? Like never being too comfortable. Like you don't want like Ovi to chirp you for not having your tie on and maybe get fined. Hey, that's the life of the fourth line, man.
Biz, forget the tie. He just was ready to just not go to the booth. He's like, "Team needs me. I got to play." Like, it sounded like you were like, "Hey, what time's the game?"
Well, at the, like Biz just said, at the time I was still kind of trying to cement myself, and you're like, "Hey, honey, can we I can't miss this game here. I'm in the lineup here. I can't get this game." So
I'm trying to get this one way, girl. Hold that thing in.
Yeah, but it was
some duct tape on there.
Yeah. Yes.
You should have one of those dinosaur coaches, though. At least Todd was like, "Hey, you got to go do the right thing here."
Yeah.
We got an old guy like Milbury who would have been like, "Fucking, you don't play tonight, you're going back down."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Rears was good at the time. He was. I think we might be the oldest team in the NHL. We got more guys with kids than I've ever played with, and so I think everyone had already been through that. So
that suit retired, I'm guessing.
What'd you say?
I said that suit retired, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think I tried to get it laundered at the hospital, and I lost it.
It must be a blast playing with all these legends in that lineup. I guess you were kind of used to it because you were drafted by LA. And that was when they kind of started their dominance in their cup runs. But like just walking into that locker room, every day, and, Ovi, Oshie, Carlson, just like a crazy amount of like established veterans.
Yeah. I mean, like you look at our team and I mean, you forgot Backstrom off that. Who's like one of the best all-time passers ever. And like I think the coolest thing about these guys is, they're like legitimate all Hall of Famers, and they're just like great people, like good dudes, make for a really good locker room, really close team. And it starts at the top and funnels down. I mean, you guys know you played on teams where you got all the best players are great dudes. And, it's like that helps everything else so much. So it's been good. It's just fun, like watching these guys all the time too. I mean, early in my career with the Caps, I had great seats. So I just got to watch these guys a lot and learn and, like drop my jaw a little bit, and they do it every night. It's unreal. So
I'm actually shocked you're able to have a kid given their little routine in the hallway with all these fucking cup checks.
This guy's superstitious. Oof.
Yeah. Just not superstitious, just a little stitious.
What like bring us through this whole routine. Like when new guys get to the team, or like do they have to talk about like who's going to cup check who and like who goes out first? And because Char just joined the team and he seemed to get right into the mix in the hallway routine.
Yeah, Z, God, what a guy. We can talk about him forever. Just another guy I got to play with that was like incredible. But yeah, so obviously this routine's been going on forever, right? Because like Carly, Osh obviously joined a little later, but Nikki, like these guys have been around for like 12, 13, 14 years now. And they've been doing this stuff. Like, I mean, you know, so the cup checking, I don't ask a lot of questions when it comes to this stuff. But the cup checking is hilarious. I mean, I saw it before I got here. Yeah, I don't know. I think I guess if I had to like guess, I think when Osh got here, from what I've heard a little bit, is he kind of loosened things up quite a bit. Again, like he's got a lot of stuff going on before the game with guys, but yeah, the jumping right into it. I mean, yeah, you kind of just got to find your mix and get in there. And then I think like the first time you go through the line, you're kind of like figuring out what you want to do with people. And then it kind of like the best ones organically make themselves. And then, yeah, you end up having like I got like going through my head. I think I got one with like every person in the hallways. So I probably got like close to 10. So, you know, and it's, you know, nothing's done before they're all done. Right. And the guys are like shuffling around and everyone's got their own thing. And yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun before the game. So
talking about Z, is he off the ice basically the opposite of how he is on the ice?
Man, I mean, yeah, nicest human being ever. I got a great Z story. Well, let me preface that. So yeah, Z, unreal dude on the ice. Like the fact that, I mean, I don't even know how old he is. I think we just stopped counting, but it was like I'm 31 and I feel how I feel. And Z's like a mutant that he can still play and be successful at. And he's still a great player. And just to do it, he's such a pro, but like, so he comes over, we have like a get together at our house, just outside. And then we're having just like a little, like a small group of guys with like a bonfire in the middle of the day or whatever. And Z shows up and he's a vegetarian, I guess, like kind of pseudo vegetarian. And he comes over and he brings these veggie patties, frozen veggie patties. And he brings them in his own bag and he shows up, and I wasn't planning on like cooking or doing anything. We were just going to have some like a couple beers and hang out with the boys. And that was about it. And he's like, "Hey Nick, when's the barbecue?" And I'm kind of like looking at him like, oh shit, this guy thinks we're cooking food. He brought his own Lunchable. And then he's like, yeah, he's like, and I was like, I don't think I was going to cook, Z. And he's like, what? He's like, no, we got to have a barbecue. So anyways, long story short, Z comes over to our house, leaves, goes to the grocery store, takes Hath with him, shows up with like the most amount of food I've ever seen, uses our entire kitchen, cooks everything, grills, does everything, hosts a barbecue at my house, feeds everybody, and then leaves. And that was it. It was incredible. It was awesome.
He's not everyone's dad. He's everyone's granddad. He's just like that much of a legend.
He is, man. It's like, and it was like Garney told me, he's like, man, like, I'll never forget the story. I get to go to the grocery store with Z. Like, how cool is that? Like, and Garney grew up, you know, like he grew up in Maine. You know, I think he's obviously tied to the Bruins a little bit. So like Z's, you know, in the mix for him growing up type of thing. And so like the fact that like, you know, Hath went to the grocery store with him, like, I don't know, it's just kind of a cool story, right? Like, we're kind of just like, man, this guy's like the legend of all legends. And we got O and Z. We got guys that literally just have one initial as their name now on our team. So it's like, you know,
hey,
I don't know.
If I went to the grocery store with Big Z, I would be checking out some of those unreal peanut filled pretzels, you know, and I'd get Greco-Roman style fucking chokehold by him, because you know if you grab any of the trash, he's getting rid of you.
Oh yeah,
like Hathaway could have been looking at Doritos and boom, he gets slapped in the face.
Hey, he must have been shaking his head at the fact that that Ovi drinking pop on the bench.
Man, it's yeah, like those two are like, they're so good for each other because like they pulled and pushed each other in good directions, you know. And like, yeah, Z shows up to our house and I'm like, hey Z, like, you know, I don't know, like, can I offer you a beer or whatever? And he's like, do you have any juice? And I was like, and Paige is like, yeah, Paige goes, I think Louis has some juice boxes. I was like, Paige, you know, like, and then I was like, I don't think we have, I'll go look. And then like, you know, I think we ended up having to pour out like 4 juice boxes into a cup, you know, just so like we could, because like, I'm not going to like embarrass the guy by giving him a juice box.
You're like Andre the Giant with that beer can picture.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude, man. Great guy.
The Boyd Gordon, when he was playing with Ovi, he said one thing that drove him nuts is the fact that he would take the marinara scooper and he would put it in the Alfredo and he would cross the sauces. Is that still something that happens? And has that picked up since we've been talking about? He doesn't do that anymore.
He doesn't cross. I've never seen him cross the sauces. No, but we're pretty spoiled. We have a pasta guy now, Biz.
So we had an omelet guy in Pittsburgh. You guys have your own, like what does he do? What does a pasta guy do?
Yeah, I mean,
he makes pasta for him.
Well, I mean, that's pretty simple. Like, I mean, what the fuck do you need him out in the main room for?
Yeah, so their own orders. It might have been like a COVID thing, to be honest. I don't know, like where they stopped. I can't remember when we started doing it, but yeah, obviously they used to have like buffet of everything, right? Like I remember my rookie year when I walked into the NHL buffet on the road and they had like 30 different kinds of meats and 30 different kinds of pastas, and like you're like, man, remember when we used to eat on the road, Biz, for the American League?
Oh my goodness. We should, by the way, for those listening, we won a Calder Cup in Manchester together. We'll get to that later and why I became to love this guy. And I'm very thankful for our friendship, but let's continue with the fancy buffet setups in
so I mean, which, you know, too, like there's everything above everything. It's just, I don't know. It's just ridiculous almost how much food is wasted. But so we have a pasta guy now who, like, basically all the pasta comes pre-cooked, the meat, like everything you could ever think of. And then you just go up to him. He's like, hey, I want this, this, and this. He tosses it in like a frying pan, heats it up for you on the spot. And then boom, this like fresh pasta. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's fucking National League right there.
That is National.
I mean,
League.
You play with Vancouver, LA, and then now Washington. So every single team you've been with is just like an A+ setup. Like they do not fuck around in Washington.
Yeah, no, Washington's top 3 in my opinion. I mean, I've been on 3 teams, obviously, but like we know guys around the league and you talk and you work out with guys in the summer. I mean, Wash from just how the people are, like our equipment managers, like everybody, they take unreal care of us. It's amazing. So.
I got to ask one quick question since we're on like the food and beverage thing. I was talking to Brooks Ortbeck and he was saying that Oshie has this weird mix of like Guinness beer and wine. Have you ever seen him drink this on the plane or anything?
No, I've never seen him drink Guinness and wine on the plane, but Orpy, man, that's another guy I get to play with. I mean, you just keep naming these people there. I mean, just, yeah. Osh, no. I mean, we got probably some stories that we'll have to talk when I retire, but
or never let out of the vault. He also mentioned that he's like attached to the card table, like the game on the plane gets a little bit silly.
Well, Osh is like he's such a competitive guy and he's good at absolutely everything. He's good at everything. Like as what you see him play hockey, he's just as good as everything else that he does. So yeah, I mean God, that's so good. Me and Hath sit behind him on the plane. And Carly and usually Nikki and Osh, and they play relentlessly. Like it'll be like a flight from here to there at like 1 a.m, and like they got their, you know, the music going and they're playing cards. And yeah, they don't ever not play ever. They always play. It's like once you sit, you're in, you're playing. That's it.
They probably land and then like the flight attendant's like, guys, you got to get off the plane. You gotta go home.
Yeah. I mean,
last hand.
Yeah, plenty of times there's been where like, you know, they'll be kind of last guys off the plane just because it's like they got to finish up. But yeah,
you were saying Oshie loosened up the room. Is he just like a jokester, a ball breaker? Because usually like top end guys aren't the guys who usually break up the room like that, are they?
No, I mean he's definitely, I wouldn't call him a jokester. No, he's just I mean he's just one of the best people I've ever played with. Genuine individual. So like, you know, when he talks, people listen, and he's one of our best players too. So that helps. Right. And he's just, I think everyone values his opinion so much. And he's there to help everybody, you know, the best thing about the guys on our team is that these guys have been here forever and they've won a Stanley Cup. You got who's broken a ton of records. Arguably in my opinion, I play with him every day. He's the best goal scorer ever. You know, I mean, in this modern age of hockey. And then you got a guy like Carly. I mean, they're all future Hall of Famers. They're all incredible players and they're just great people. And you come right into a team like I did and they make you feel welcome right away. And it's like, you don't get that everywhere and they don't have to be like that. I mean, there's a lot of superstars out there in different sports that aren't like that. And our team is full of them. So.
Why is Backstrom still so underrated? I mean, I know people in hockey know how good he is, but we just don't hear about him as much as we should. Why is that?
I don't know, man. It's such a great question because, I mean, arguably, I think he's like he's our best, one of our best forwards all around. I mean, he plays defense, he plays offense, he kills penalties, he's 5-on-3 guy, he's a power play guy, he's the best passer in the game. The list goes on. He's a great human. So it's like, I don't know why he's consistently underrated. Maybe because he plays with like 5 other great players. You know, I mean, that could be an issue, like, right. Like, but yeah, he does everything right. I've never seen him make a mistake ever. So
is he a low key personality?
Yeah, quiet guy, but again, another guy where his opinion is very valued, and guys really respond to what he has to say, and you know, he's a great leader. So,
what was it like going through the coaching change? Because you had Todd Reardon to start, and then Laviolette came in. I know you started establishing yourself as a full-time NHLer, like in your couple first years with Washington. Was it hard to like earn the trust of a new coach while you did that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I had never been through my contract had never outlasted a coach before. So it's the first time ever. So
congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Mark that off the list. Yeah. So it was interesting. Like, you don't know what you're going to get into. I knew that, you know, the previous year under the previous head coach that I kind of started to really cement myself and play more and more games and put myself into, you know, certain roles that allow you to kind of stay on a team and cement yourself. And so when Lavi came in, you know, I honestly wasn't sure. I knew that I had played with Hath the whole year before. So that was kind of, I assumed I was going to play with Hath again. That was really the only assumption I had. And then, you know, Lav just kind of pulled us aside early at the beginning of last year, and it told us what he expected of us. And said that, you know, we would get an opportunity to do that type of things. And it was, you know, kind of our responsibility to figure it out and claim it. So I think that's kind of what happened is, you know, I get to play with Hath and Hags, who are 2 really good players and really good people. And they kind of carry me along and we put together, you know, I think one of our best seasons, the 3 of us. I mean, Hags is definitely downgraded. He used to play with like in, you know, St. Louis and guys like that in New York. Now he's playing with me, but that's okay. But yeah, I think as a line, we just, you know, we played all 56 or 62 games together last year. You know, we all saw our ice time go up and responsibility go up and kind of put together a good identity and you know, so yeah, hopefully keep rolling that into this year.
And that's nice too, because oftentimes like fourth line, it seems to be scrambling quite a bit where you don't get to stay with the same guys. Guys are like up and down the lines, especially you mentioned Hags, who's I guess a little bit more versatile. And I would imagine that he reminds you guys that he was playing with those guys at one point constantly.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's not bad. He's again, like I can't, you know, I keep saying this, but it's so true. Another great dude, and humble guy. You know, I mean, I don't know what year this is for, maybe 10th or 11th, but 2 cups. And, you know, I mean, the guy used to play with Sid. Now he's playing with me. So it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't ever remind us, no. And he is versatile. I mean, he can play up and down the lineup, and he did that. And I think we just clicked so well last year that it was like, well, don't pull him away, you know, and don't pull Hath away and whatever. So yeah, I think we kind of sucked him in like a tractor beam. So.
You gotta take me through the pregame thoughts and the feelings right before puck drop at MSG in the line brawl that opened up the game with the Rangers.
Oh wow!
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I just need to, when did you know that you guys were going off the opening puck drop? As you went into the circle, or in warm-ups, or after when the lineup was announced by head coach?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen. Like the whole New York thing that happened that day. You know, well, the game the night before, and then like the next day, like the coach and the GM were fired, like at like pregame lunch, and we were like, man, what is going? We were like, I don't know. We were kind of like, everyone was just kind of like, wow, what's going on? And then I didn't know what to expect. Like it wasn't like it was like, you know, 10 of our guys did something really bad to 10 of their guys or something. It was just kind of like something happened. It was a hockey
really flexing in the box. Where you guys must have been fucking howling about that video of him going like this in the box. Come on, you guys must have had some laughs.
Oh yeah, I just saw that photo the other day too. It was pretty good. Yeah, but I didn't, you know, I didn't know. I had no clue, and I hadn't really thought about it from like, because like we weren't really involved in the play, right? So we were kind of like, you know, whatever. But then right off the draw, it was actually kind of funny. Right off the draw, me, Hath, and Hag start, and they start their fourth line, which isn't like rare, right? Hey, buddy, which isn't rare. And I'm just thinking like, oh, like our fourth line's going to go out. They're going to match, like, Biz, like fourth lines a lot of the time will match their fourth line, whatever. So
yeah, I don't think I would start a game no matter what line started, but okay, keep going.
I got so many
absolutely. Not yet. Well, let's stick with the Washington, New York talk right now.
Okay. So
he's nasty.
Yeah, he wants it. He wants it for sure. Yeah. So, and then I'm putting my helmet on and everything, doing my own stuff like before the game, because I got like a criminal amount of stuff that I do before the game. And so I sit there, I'm getting my stuff on, I'm skating up to the dot, and Rooney, the other centerman, like kind of yells at me from across the way, and he's like, "Hey, we're going." And I was kind of just like skating up to the dot, and he's like, "Hey, we're going." And I was like, "Okay." And then he kind of like settled down, because I think he was like, "Oh, okay." So then at the exact same moment, Hath was over at our bench, and one of our coaches was like, "No one's going." And so Hath comes cruising by me in my ear, and he's like, "No one's going." And I didn't hear him. And so then, me and Rooney are there, Hags, and I forget who Hags was tied up with, but then Hath comes screaming over to his dot and his hash mark. And then they drop the puck, and like, I just like threw my stuff off immediately. And if you actually watch it really closely, Hath goes to like get the puck and start like playing. And then he's like, "Oh shit." So then he like drops the stuff, and that's kind of how it ensued. But then like, yeah, that was kind of like the whole story was that I don't know, nothing was really supposed to happen, but then it happened. But yeah, there wasn't like any like build up and like warm ups or anything like that. It was strictly just like, hey, like, and then they felt like that's what needed to be done to take care of whatever. And so I understand, but yeah, that was basically it. So
I love that. It's kind of like breaking news that it was all started by Dowder.
It wasn't started by me.
Way to go, Dowder.
It wasn't started by
trying to eliminate violence from the game. We're going to have a bunch of lefties coming at you on social now.
Yeah, no, it wasn't started by me. Hey, I'm I think there's a lot of room for fighting still in the game. I mean, it polices itself. So
absolutely.
Now, has the discussion happened about the fact that you guys are playing each other opening night? They end up acquiring Reeves, like, or are you guys like, no, business as usual? This isn't going to be the focus going in. It's like it's something that's completely in the back of our minds.
Yeah, I mean, I think the latter for sure. I think it's business as usual. We're looking to win game one, and it is what it is. I mean, they obviously like they made some trades and stuff over the signed some new people over the summer, but GMs are always looking to make their teams better, so it's not like it's like a big thing. But yeah, I think it's just business as usual, and we're going to go in there looking to win, game one at our building. So.
I just had one more about Washington. You're a free agent. What made you settle on Washington as an unrestricted free agent? What kind of other offers did you might have?
Yeah, I think what made me really settle was that they were the only offer. So
fucking rights, narrow it right down. Don't have to do any thinking down it.
I remember my agent called me, and he was like, I had 3 goals and 1 assist the previous year. So really tore it up. I think there was actually players that came into the league after college that tied my points that year in like 2 games. So I came in, and I remember he calls, my agent calls me. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "Yeah, great news. Washington offers a one-way, this and that." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "That's awesome. Like, this is my first year as an unrestricted free agent." I was like, "Is there anybody else?" And he's like, "Washington offered you the one-way." I was like, "All right." And I was like, let me talk to Paige. And he's like, what is there to talk about? I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, man, thanks.
Yeah.
So, that was
actually, if we could stick one more with Washington, I feel terrible because like last podcast, I picked Washington to miss playoffs this year. Only reason why is I was questioning goaltending. There's a couple of guys who aren't household names who are a net for you guys. Of course, it goes back to last year with Lundqvist dealing with what he had to deal with. What is something that we need to know about these couple young goaltenders that you guys have, and maybe if they're going to surprise people coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think our goaltending last year was unreal, and it was a tandem of these guys and Craig Anderson, who came in a little bit here and there and did a really good job for us. But yeah, Vitek and Sammy, I mean, like both really good goaltenders, a lot different from each other, but both really hungry and young players. So yeah, I think I don't think that's anything that we've been worried about at all. I think both these guys are really good goalies, and I think it's, young goalies can be a great thing, right? These guys, young legs and bounce back, and they're ready to go. So, and they both work hard. So it's going to be a good pair. So
once again, I don't know what I'm talking about. Great. Let's move it along here. Whit, what do you got?
I wanted to go back to you growing up and getting into the game and being from Alabama. Can you kind of explain to me and anyone else who's curious in terms of like how you got into the game, who first introduced you to hockey, things like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to bore you guys, but I had two older brothers, 10 and 12 years older than me, Josh and Matt. My parents are both from England. So my dad coached them growing up from the bench, never skated, never learned how to skate, tried to learn how to skate. He was the guy that started going out to public skate with like just skates on, and then gradually over like each time he put more equipment on because he kept falling. So like by the end of it, he had like the entire set on with no stick. And so, but he coached from the bench, coached my two brothers. And, I just got into it because of them. We played a lot of mini hockey in the basement. And then, Alabama's got actually really good youth hockey. Until I was 15, I played in the youth organization, which is like it's Huntsville Amateur Hockey Association. So we'd travel around and play Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, Atlanta, maybe a little bit of Birmingham. And then when I was 15, we started up the TPH, which is like Total Package Hockey. I think they're under a new name now out in Nashville. And then played there for a year. And then we like four of us ended up going to Culver, which is a boarding school in Indiana, because I was playing with the Jeffrion family. I don't know if you guys, obviously Danny Jeffrion and Boom Boom Jeffrion and their sons too. And they've all played, and, they were within the program as well. And their oldest son, or their second oldest son, was going to Culver at the time. So they brought the coach down there, talked to us, and like five of us ended up going there. And then, played there, and then was on the JV team my first year, which was the lowest team. And I think my sophomore year of high school, I was 5'3", 110 pounds. And I'll never forget, I looked over when I got there and I was benching the same as the girls hockey team, like 10 pound plates on each side. And I was repping it. And she was doing the exact same thing. And I was like, man, I'm in one. So, but
what were we 5'3", what? 110?
110.
Yeah, 5'3", 110. Yeah.
Holy, Are your parents big?
No. My dad's the shortest out of all the boys in the family. My mom's, like normal mom. I don't know, 5'3", 5'4",
Normal mom. I think my mom's same thing. 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah, you all think about it, right? They're all the same size, kind of.
Did you have to go on some special diet? Because, man, that's like, I mean, they're small, but then there's just like massively undersized. You must have been getting thrown around out there.
Yeah. But I'm a big believer, though. So like people ask me about that. And I'm a big believer in so you have all these kids, right? And them too. You all these kids will start popping into all your guys' heads right now that you grew up with. And these kids were like bulldozers, right? Like they were flying around at like 12, 13, 14. They were crushing everybody. They were the fastest. And then all of a sudden at like 16, 17, 18, when everyone started growing, these kids were not as good anymore. And then you see all these other kids that are coming up and like maybe a little bit late bloomers, whatever. But I'm a big believer that like, because I was so little at the time, I had to develop a lot of different stuff in order to keep up with the rest of the game. And then when you grow up and you all of a sudden get size and, you're bigger, then you still have all this stuff that you had to develop. But I know tons of kids that like could skate like the wind. And then all of a sudden when they got older and everyone else was bigger, all they could do is skate like the wind. And you're like, well, yeah, like, I mean, but no special diet or anything.
Didn't Lyles go to Culver at one point too? Johnny Lyles?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So his dad actually was a counselor there when I was there, but I didn't know John Michael at all, but he was there way before me. I think he went there for a couple years. Yeah.
Well, all right.
So is it like a hardcore, like military? Like what do you guys have to do every day at that place?
Yeah. I mean, it's like military base. So we basically walk around looking like mailmen. Like we wear that blue. We look just like mailmen. So we got
like in formation or walking like normal.
No. So it's a co-ed school. So it's like 400 guys, 300 girls, whatever. It's kind of half and half. And you live there, you're on campus, you got your own dorm. The girls got their own dorms. So you do some like, it's all based around some military stuff. So like they have like, roll call in the morning. You got to be outside to march into the cafeteria to eat breakfast. And then but you got to be up at like 6:30. I mean, imagine trying to herd like 110, like, 14 to 17-year-olds at 6:30 in the morning to go to breakfast. It's like be like herding cats, right? So it's like it was just like pseudo base. We did on Sunday, we did parade, we had to like march around in the field and drive trucks and stuff like that.
Dude, like chants like Bill Murray in Stripes.
No,
just walking down the street.
Yeah, no, that was way cooler. But,
looking back though, because even when I played with you in Manchester, you would always show up at the same time, usually before a lot of the guys. You would always have the same regimen of stretching and activating. Do you think, looking back on everything, that's kind of where you learned to stay so disciplined in your routine?
Yeah, I'd probably say that definitely helped. Yeah, I think that's kind of where it all started. And you know how it goes. Like the more you play pro, right, the more stuff you pick up.
Oh,
and it's
my
like,
God.
It's like
you can't get out of your own head. You got like 2.5 hours of activation stuff you got to do before you get on the ice to feel good.
Yeah, I'm surprised Biz doesn't activate his brain before he gets on this podcast the way this guy used to activate when he played.
Was I doing shit back then?
Whatever he's doing isn't working.
I was fucking a foam roller for about an hour before practice.
This guy was so in tune with his body; it was out of control. He would sit. So in the American League, you don't have a massage guy. In the NHL, you do. And Biz would sit in the room, and he'd come up with something new every day. I remember for a week it was hamstring stretches. Man, these hamstring stretches. This is changing my game. It's changing my life. I feel so good about myself. Then the next week he was self massaging his VMOs. And it was like he'd sit in there and you remember this? He'd sit in there.
I was a mental midget, man. I was a mental midget at that.
Oh, honestly, your body was always hurting you, huh?
Oh, boy, I was breaking down. I was like the most unflexible guy too. I wish I would have been doing yoga or something. Why are you laughing?
Because it's true. I remember watching you stretch and stuff. It was insane.
I was breathing like I was on the golf course. Before I hit that shot, when I was taking 15 practice strokes, I probably sounded like your wife giving birth when I was doing my breathing routine stretching.
That's why you have the shortest backswing of all time. Probably you got no mobility in your pecs or hips or anything.
Zero mobility.
So obviously at a certain point you started growing and it started clicking, and then you ended up getting you played in the the USHL one year.
Yeah, I played in the North. I basically went like JV, varsity B, varsity A. Played in the North American League for 1 year. Played in the USHL for 1 year. Played college for 4 years, and the American League for 2 years. And then so. And
then you got recruited by St. Cloud State. Now we've had Bugsy Malone on the podcast, and he talked about his recruiting trip. Did you have anything special? And had you heard about the legend of Bugsy Malone when you went there?
Yeah. So I mean, this guy is all time, and I know I know Bugsy a little bit, just as much as like a younger guy would know of Bugsy, his generation at St. Cloud is just all time. And I've met Bugsy a couple times. I've skated with him a couple times. Really, you guys obviously know him really well, right?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So tank when it comes to like consuming alcohol, at least he was back at college, I'm sure. Right. And, yeah, I mean, the rumor and like the legend about him is that we have this drink at St. Cloud called the Hairy Buffalo, and it's at MC's dugout, and it's called the Hairy Buffalo. And this is no lie. There's three or four different types of like vodka, rum, whiskey, something else tied into it, and it's like basically
Jaeger. Has to be Jaeger.
And it's basically like a tropical drink, but they got a hairy buffalo, a shaved buffalo, a white buffalo, a brown buffalo, and they're all different, mixers that go into the same liquor. And you have one of those, and it's like, but mostly lights out. Like your night's over.
Tranquilizer.
You get there, you get there. You get there at 11 and it's over. And supposedly Bugsy holds the record. I think he's had 6 and was fine basically. So that's what we always heard about Bugsy at school, was that he holds the record for hairy buffaloes, which is like you have 2 of them and you're totally done. You can't function. You're done the next day.
You're drooling.
Yeah. I mean, you're lucky to get home.
Nick, did you have an offer from Alabama Huntsville? And if so, were you torn on not taking it?
Yeah. So again, St. Cloud was an easy choice because it was my only choice. But
I figured you were local. They might have want to bring you in. No?
Yeah, I mean, I did.
Oh shit! What were they thinking?
I did get brought in for like an unofficial visit. I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong. They never called me back. So
yeah, you're probably like, hey, you guys do the hairy buffaloes here? They're like, what are those? And you described it. They're like, yeah, this guy's gonna be a.
He's like, I got a record to break.
Yeah, chasing it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you guys had a great program at St. Cloud. I mean, it's still a great program. Like tons of guys end up coming out of there. We played with Kevin Gravel, Johnny Brodzinski. What makes that program so good? Because it seems like a bit of a hidden gem there in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of started getting really good the couple years before I got there. They really started like to turn it around. They had some really good recruits, and I think like the biggest thing is that a lot of these players that are obviously getting passed over for these really big schools like the University of Minnesota, University of North Dakota, who are getting like these blue chip high end players at 18, 19 years old. St. Cloud is benefiting from like, maybe picking up players that, were passed over. They get them at 20 and, they're giving these guys opportunities and they're a couple years older. So, how that goes. I mean, the years between 18 and 21 are big years, for like just the growth of a kid and the maturity and whatever. I mean, the confidence. And so, yeah. And then they Bob Motzko, who I played for, was an unreal recruit, was able to go in and like our team was made up of kids that were basically like, passed over or weren't going to these huge schools. And then we ended up having like, I think from my junior year, we had like 8 or 9 guys play NHL games from that team alone. And I mean, that's unheard of. So, and Bob was a good coach all off. And we played on that Olympic sheet too. Right. So it's just like tons of space out there. And that was great for what once was a skilled Nic Dowd, but, and so, but it was good. I mean, and then like the rink is awesome. It's a hard place to play, and then, it was a lot of fun, so.
I got to go back to one thing that RA talked about in the intro. I think it was in the intro. So were you the third player, in fact, drafted from the state of Alabama? Because I read first and then RA corrected me before we ended up hopping on. Who were the guys before you, if there in fact were?
I don't know. I'd like to hear that too.
Okay, so you technically you believe you were the first player from Alabama ever drafted to the National Hockey League?
I think what he said too was probably right. I did hear there was a guy like in the 50s or 60s that was played or drafted. I don't know. Is that right? I kind of heard that.
I read there were 2 guys before you in the NHL. Whether they were drafted or not, I wasn't able to confirm that before we started. But there were 2. Yeah. But it was like 70 years ago. So you were like the first of the modern era.
Yeah, sure. I know Jared Ross, who's actually from Michigan, but he played at Alabama Huntsville. He played games in the NHL for Philly. And he was like, he was a great player. I watched him growing up. I still know Roscoe. He still lives in Huntsville. He is technically not from Huntsville. He's from Michigan, I believe. And so I guess like you can't really count him as being from, but I heard there was only one guy before me that was in like the 50s or 60s that was either drafted or played in the NHL actually from Huntsville. So
Odd Tootin is his name.
Yeah, I found the article I was looking at. It says Dowd is, and this is per Fansided, an article a few months back. It says Dowd is just the third player in NHL history from Alabama, joining Jared Ross and Odd Tootin. Tootin played back in the 40s, and it took nearly 70 years for another Alabama native, Ross, to play in the NHL. Combined, Tootin and Ross played 52 NHL games. Dowd has played 307. Doesn't reference drafting. I mean, I suppose you can probably dig that up somewhere, but either way, you've definitely helped put this place on the map.
Do you still spend your summers off seasons in Huntsville?
No, we haven't. My wife and I live in Minneapolis in the summer. Okay. So she's from there, and then I went to St. Cloud. She went to St. Cloud, so it's easy. But yeah, my mom and dad are still there. Both my brothers are still there. Minus COVID, we go down there once a summer for 10, 12 days and spend some time down there. So,
are you Alabama or Auburn?
We're a War Eagle family. Both my brothers go to Auburn. So,
right.
One other thing about college, you took veterinarian medicine. That is fucking nuts, dude. Did you end up getting your diploma in it?
Oh no, as my freaking wife likes to point out, my son has a father who doesn't have a college degree. So,
me too, man. It's been working out okay though.
Yeah,
I was hoping to figure out why my dog keeps wetting the bed. So I guess we could pass on the veterinarian medicine.
Yeah. I got close.
It's
I got
fucked.
close. Yeah, I got close. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe take your dog into a real vet.
Yeah, we tried. He just keeps pissing all over the place.
Try some self massage.
Oh yeah, get my own VMOs going. Hey, why do they call you Speedball? I never heard that nickname when I was playing with you. Is that just a rumor online, kind of like Steubenville, Ontario?
Yeah, I've never even heard that either.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm 2 for 2 in the past 2 interviews.
Where'd you read that?
Hey, at least I do know that you ended up being runner up for the Hobie Baker, and that's true. And that was what, in your last year at St. Cloud?
Yeah, that was my last year at St. Cloud. That's when Gaudreau won it, when he had about 70 points more than I did. So
Johnny Hockey?
Yeah, Johnny Hockey.
So you knew you weren't getting it, but still pretty sick to be in the final 3. Like, did you go to what do they go, New York City?
Yeah, they go wherever the Frozen Four was, and which was it was in Philly that year. So yeah, I mean, I thought I was pretty sweet. We got to stay at like the Lowe's Hotel there, which, at the time, like, we thought that was unreal. And but I knew I wasn't getting it. There was absolutely no chance. And then I think I honestly think he had like almost 100 points, and I had like 40. I think people were like upset that I even got nominated, but yeah, whatever. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good experience to be a part of.
Yeah, Biz, I just did a little poking around. He looks like he definitely was the first Alabama player ever drafted. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give it to you, Dowder.
Undrafted, so
no college degree, but we'll give you the first ever player drafted at Alabama. Dowder, so one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on is because we have a lot of like college kids and junior kids who play, and a lot of them are even like the stars coming up. They're the offensive players, and similar to the way you were kind of going. And then when you got to pro, you got to Manchester, they had a lot of guys in the lineup, and you kind of had to develop more of a bottom 6 role and develop that side of your game. Let's just dive into that and like maybe what your expectations were coming in and how you were eventually able to carve out a very, very good career. Maybe not where you expected to be, playing pro.
Yeah. Me and you have talked about this a lot. Even when I was in Manch, we chatted because you kind of been through it too. I mean, we should talk about your first camp, and you used to be like Bobby Orr out there, East Coast All-Star.
Yeah. So I think it all ended when I was in camp as a defenseman, as an 18-year-old, and we were doing that drill, the one where you go up to the hash marks as a defenseman, you stop, you round the net, you hit the winger, and then you go around, you hit the other winger, and then you hit the centerman, that kind of just to get warmed up.
Yeah.
And that was when Mario had came back. And as an 18-year-old, I was still using wood twigs, and I ended up coming around the net, and Mario was the guy that I got to hit. And I must have fucking missed his tape by 15 feet. And then that was pretty much the writing on the wall that I was going to be ended up moving up to 4th line left wing. Although I did get to carve out a few years in the East Coast as a defenseman. But these were good conversations because, like, I don't know if you were necessarily frustrated that you weren't getting the opportunities there, but what you did is you kind of learn all the elements of the game. And I usually talk about Brad Richardson as an example, because I played with him in junior, and he was a 50 goal scorer in junior. And then all of a sudden he's playing 4th line center in the National Hockey League. And some guys, they get really stubborn about their role, and then they end up just fading off into the distance. And you really worked at that side of your game. And I had so much respect for you in the way that you were able to handle it.
Yeah. It was interesting because, like, Witz knows this too. Like, anybody that plays at the level that you guys played at, like, that everyone that is in the NHL was the best player on their team at some point, right? Like, you don't go in being like a 4th line guy your entire life, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm just going to be a 4th liner in the NHL too, because that's just what I've been doing my whole career. Like, we were all like, everybody that played was the best defenseman, the best forward, the best goalie. And then you kind of start getting to the top of the pyramid, and, you eventually have to figure out how you're going to stick. Right. And, you could just count the numbers. There's 31 teams. You got 4 centermen a team. You're like 120 something centermen. Then you look at it, you got Nick Backstrom, Evgeny Kuznetsov. So now you're cutting it in half. And, now then you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to stick? And I think, when I was in LA, they did such a good job of developing us as players, and teaching us the right way to play. And then, I played under Daryl, which was obviously had his challenges, but in a good way. And I really like Daryl off the ice too. And so, you learn how to play there, and then you get to watch these top end guys, like Kopitar and Brown play. And, Sorry. And, and then you eventually, like, you have to understand, like, I'm not telling kids that they shouldn't try and go out and be Alex Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom, because for sure that's the play. Do that. That seems like a lot of fun, but it's like, there's only a limited amount of spots. And, like, if you want to stick around, you got to figure out ways to make yourself useful. And sometimes it's, not always about where you're at that time. It's about, like, who's going to like you in the future, and can you play a certain game where you are that's going to maybe open doors for you down the road. But I have tons of buddies who, whether or not they, without them even knowing it, were not able to pivot their game. And you see these guys who are high end, maybe American League players, and you're like, how is this guy not transferred? But you're not going to come in and jump, Nick Backstrom or TJ Oshie or guys like that. So you got to figure out ways how can I make myself useful, carve out a role, extend my shelf life in the NHL. And then maybe you get an opportunity to be a Nick Backstrom or a TJ Oshie because of an injury, or because you move on to a different team. And then that's where you can play. But so many guys just get stuck wanting to do the one thing that they want to do. And you got to be the guy that's willing to do the stuff that people don't want to do. So
I was just going to hop in quick about the challenge. You said you really enjoyed Sutter off the ice. Did he maybe not necessarily like you as a player? And did you kind of not feel that confidence from him in order to kind of transfer it onto the ice? Like, were you always maybe playing scared a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I actually do think he liked me as a player a lot. I actually do think Daryl liked me as a player. I think that I went in to LA my first couple games, I played really well. And then I think I made some rookie mistakes that Daryl was like, goddamn rookie. And, and then I think it's easy as a head coach to be like, well, I got Kopi, I got Karts, I got, whoever the, third line center was at the time. Like, I like Dowder, but I'm trying to win games here too. It's not, Daryl had a job to do as well. So I do think he actually liked me a lot as a player. And I think, LA was a great spot. I just think that, like, I made some of those mistakes where a head coach is like, God damn it, I can't trust this kid, and then they got to move on, and you kind of just like get shuffled around. And then at that point, you got to be willing to play those 5 to 6 minute games and be happy about it. And, and like I said, extend your shelf life, and then maybe you get more minutes. And that's, but yeah, I don't think Daryl had any issue in my game at all. I just think I made some really rough mistakes early. And, it was just like one of those things where they were trying to make the playoffs. Remember, they lost to the Sharks that year. So it was like, that was kind of a make or break year. Right. So,
yeah.
So then you ended up being traded to Vancouver, spent a little time there, and then were you a free agent? Was the signing with Washington something that came pretty quick, or had you talked to Vancouver about re-signing? How did that all go down?
Yeah, I hadn't really talked to Vancouver about re-signing. So that at the time wasn't really a thing that was going to happen. And then, we went into free agency. And I was talking to Biz earlier about, when you're a younger player, I think you're naive to what's going on behind the scenes. And that actually helps a lot, because I think people at the end of your career, if you knew how hard it was to do what you did, you'd be like, man, if someone had told me that at the beginning, I don't know if I could have done it. But yeah, Washington just popped up. If you remember, we had that, they started that 1 week long interviewing process for free agents before the actual signing. And remember, they had all those deals were done like right when noon opened on like July 1st or whatever it was. And the deals had already been basically signed. So I think they took that away last year and this year coming up. But so Washington had just called some time before, and it was basically all set up to get it done right away. But
how was your time in Vancouver? It was a place you would have liked to have stayed if they gave you opportunity. You played under Travis Green for a bit.
Yeah. Looking back, I'm, glad I didn't stay, obviously, just because how it's turned out here in Wash. But,
right.
I think anytime someone offers you a job in the NHL, you're happy to take it. Vancouver was, we stayed there during the wettest winter, I think, in like 80 years. So having a dog and stuff like that, that wasn't too great. But, you know, I was in and out of lineup there. I was still trying to kind of cement my place. But, you know, another good group of guys. I think one of the coolest things is I was there for the Sedins last season. You know, and I, you know, obviously didn't know them at all, but was able to be a fly on the wall. And those two guys too are some of the nicest people I've ever met in the game. You know, and they didn't know me at all, but they were really inclusive and really, really nice people, and great players, really fun to watch. And I was there, I was scratched, but I was there for their last game where
they played the Coyotes.
Yeah. And then one of them, I forget who it was, but one of them passed to, you know, Hank or whatever it was. And it was a pat. And then they scored in overtime to win their last game ever in Vancouver, which is like unreal. So, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was. I got a stick sign from both of them, which was like the coolest thing ever. So,
oh yeah.
Go ahead. All right.
I want to go back to when you first met Biz in the locker room, Manchester, then Ontario. Were people laughing with him, or were they laughing at him?
Well, no, it was one of those things where I remember when he signed, and I was talking, Biz Mershey. I was talking to Mershey and Michael Mersh, and we were both like, "Holy shit, man! Like Paul Bissonnette is going to be on our team. This is." Like we, you know, like this guy's a big deal. And
yeah.
And no, seriously, I'm not ripping on you. Like, and we were like, this guy's a big deal. And yeah, so and I remember when he signed, but just like people definitely weren't laughing at him because Biz at the time could, you know, beat everybody up, and especially, you know, in our locker room. And but yeah, he was good, man. He was awesome guy. One of the best teammates, you know. I mean, I'm going to rip on him in a bit, but you know, for all the fans out there, you guys give this guy a hard time, but one of the best teammates I ever played with too. So.
Listen, on a personal level, like before we get into the joking stuff, like I was in a difficult spot when I ended up coming over because I was a year that I didn't get an NHL contract. I went to Portland, and just like from the way that year started for me to the way it ended, like that group of guys like lifted me up in ways that I could really never pay back the favor for what you guys did for me. The group of guys was incredible. And of course, to end it the way we did, winning that Calder Cup, man, I have so many amazing friendships from that experience. And we had such a good group of guys like Brian O'Neill, who's still playing over he's playing over in Finland right now, lighting it up.
Yeah, he's a great player. Yeah.
Sean Backman, the team DJ, he was an excellent player too. He went over to finish career in Germany. I mean, we the list goes on. Laverde, we had Berube, we had so many great guys. Kresma, and I tell you what, one of the tougher teams too, because we had Sabrin and Josh Gratton as well.
Oh, we had for sure toughest team in the American League that year, no question. It was a good team. Yeah.
Nick, what's the best part or maybe most underrated part of playing in Washington, D.C.?
I mean, most underrated. I think we probably have one of the best buildings in the league, too. I mean, you know, we pack it out every game, and it's going to be great to have those people back. It's a hard place to play. And you know, the city, too. Like Washington, D.C. doesn't pop up as like one of your great cities, but it is. I mean, it's an unreal city where the boys live, usually over in Arlington, Virginia, is a great spot, too. You know, great for families. And the D.C. has a lot of the stuff for the younger guys too, which is good. Great restaurants. I mean, I think one of the coolest things is like, you know, you're driving to home games and you're driving past the White House, the monument, you know, like you're on Constitution Avenue just to go right to your game. And it's a pretty surreal feeling. So
do you ever visit any of the museums and memorials in your spare time?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we try and get out to those. We try and get out to those a lot. Yeah. And then walk the monuments a lot too. Yeah. That's right over Biz's head.
Yeah, it's pretty sacred stuff when you're there, man. It really overpower you a bit, you know.
It is for sure.
Arlington National in particular.
Yeah, it is. It's there's a lot of history here, you know, for obvious reasons. So.
I want to go back to Willie again. He's pretty much a unicorn in the league. He's a guy who can score big goals, 20 goal scorer, and then he can kick most of the league's ass. Like, is it so good to have a guy like him in the locker room, even though the rest of the league hates him?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you put that guy in, and everyone said this before, but like, you know, you say everyone hates him. Like, yeah, guys hate playing against him. And then you got you got all these fans that, you know, are just like hiding behind their phones a lot of the time too. But every single fan and player would take that guy in their team, no question. So, you know, and I think guys are not telling the truth if that's not what they're saying. But he's also another great human being.
Or he's broken their jaw.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get into that, but Willie plays the game one way, and that's what makes it good. Also, he's like an absolute specimen. So, you know, like you can hear that guy it's just, he's a good player, man. He's a really good player. He's really tough. Good teammate. And like I said, I remember specifically in Vancouver, he was running the Sedins, and it pissed me off so much. There's nothing I could do about it though. So, and I hated, I was like,
hey, stop it, man.
Yeah. Hey, come on.
You're a meanie.
Come on. This guy's
You're a big meanie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I couldn't do it. And then when I got on his team, I'm like, thank God. I don't have to, I don't have to skate by this guys.
Hey, you can go back to ripping on Biz in Manchester. Like, was he trying to sell any of his old outfits at a discount price like we found out earlier?
Yeah, Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh, Balenciagas. This guy was all
about. He loved the Balenciaga shoes. He still has. I think now he has the Lavens or something.
Josh Gratton took a shit in one of them at the end of the season one year. He was so fed up about hearing about the goddamn Balenciagas. I was wearing the Margillas too, the stupid Margillas.
Those red ones?
Those red ones. I went through such a horrible shoe phase. It was like my Jenko phase with the jeans transferred into the shoe game.
People would take his shoes and hide them around the rink at all times.
Oh, yeah, I would get so mad.
He's like, I'm a veteran. Treat me like
one.
Show
me some fucking respect.
Yeah, big time.
Win the show.
He first day at camp, he comes in and starts trying to be the DJ. And like guys are like, whoa, man. Like Sean Backman was like, I've been doing this for like 4 years. Yeah. And God, I started a group chat with like 5 of the older guys last night, and they were just bombing my phone with all of these. And I'm gonna have to pull them out.
Oh,
one of my favorite ones of all time was we were in Newfoundland, and Biz, obviously being like the richest guy there by like $100,000 was.
Oh, I know who fucking texted you this one. Backy, because he was the fucking he was the fine master.
Yeah. Oh God, it was so good.
Fuck him.
Yeah. So he goes up to the bar in Newfoundland, right? Like, they have all these hockey teams showing up every week. So like the public love it because these guys are all drinking, and then the hockey team shows up. You get like a night off there because you can't fly back till the next day because they're like 8 hours ahead of everybody. And you got to stay the night of. So all the guys are going out to the bar, and like the American League's full of all young guys minus Biz. And we get to the bar, and Biz is like, all right, boys, I'm putting my card down. So he puts his card down, and like everyone's loving it, right? Like in Newfoundland, you probably can't drink enough to like put a dent in even Biz's credit card. And by the end of the night, it was like, I think the tab was like $1,100. And at the time,
they fucking abused it. And I told the girl, I said, let me know when it hits 500.
They were buying everyone drinks.
Yes,
they were paying their mortgages.
Everybody. Yeah. And then he pays it at the end of the night. Like, he's the man, he's feeling it. He's played in the NHL. He's got all the dough. And the rumor has it, obviously I wasn't privy to this. I was a rookie, but he went back to the fine manager and asked him to pay him back.
That's how big of a cheap fuck I was back then. But I told, hey, first of all, hey, the boys look over. I'm just giving it to the bartender because I'm like, I said a $500 max. Well, Backy ended up giving me, pushing me back a little bit of coin for that one. But fuck it, that's so funny that he reminds you of that, because that just.
Did he give you the dough or no?
He paid me back. I think he gave me back a couple of $100 to make up for how they went over the amount. That fucking asshole.
God, it was.
That's funny shit.
It was so.
Hey,
good.
I'll tell you what though.
I got tonight, boys.
When you went to Newfoundland though, and is that how you say it? Newfoundland? I always get shit on how I say it, but when you went there, if you were a single guy and you didn't get laid, you legit had to saw your cock off and hand it back in, because that was the easiest place to get laid in pro hockey. It was a joke, man. It was we would all be on the same floor of the hotel, and it would just be a shit show after the bar. Every door open, people shifting
like
around.
Fernando Valley.
Dowder coming in the hallway saying, I'm trying to get some sleep here and make it to the National League, guys. I'm trying to finish my online schooling and become a veterinarian.
Yeah, Biz. What was Biz saying? Biz was paying for all the girls' cab rides home and then asking for their Venmo.
Paul, you said you'd get me a black car. Yeah, it's just a black Nissan Maxima.
But who else has fucking chirped me in the group chat?
Yeah, let me pull these up. Like, I gotta put you on. I gotta look here. Like, the guys were I've never had so many people text me back at once.
Oh my god, was Mercy probably was all over me about something.
Oh yeah. So
Venmo wasn't even created back then. Shut up, Doubter.
yeah, I needed something though.
Come on, a little salt.
Hey, while you dig them up, had you ever visited NASA headquarters? Because it's in Alabama.
What do you mean, Nat? What are you talking about? It's NASA. What do you mean?
NASA, like the
NASA.
yeah,
NASA.
not the capital of the Bahamas.
I was gonna say I've never been to the Bahamas. No.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
NASA, not NASA.
Yeah, no, you were close.
I'm French Canadian, Doubter.
I know, buddy. That's why I translated.
Thanks,
For you.
thanks. All right.
I
Thanks
got
for taking it easy on me.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, NASA. Sorry, I just didn't know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah. So I went to when you go to public school in Huntsville, you have to go to space camp for a week when you're in like 5th grade. So
No shit, really?
yeah, it's like part of a thing, right? So they just ship all the kids off for a week. The parents probably love it.
Like that cheesy.
All right. We'll allow you to tell one more story of you bashing me after.
I want to preface all this too. Like, it's great to make fun of Biz, but he also fought like all the toughest guys in the American League for all of us all the time. So, we rip on you because we love you, buddy. But yeah, so this next story too. We were playing in Providence. It was the last game of the year, and Biz, we had to play guys like we shouldn't have been playing guys, like our top guys shouldn't have been playing. And a couple of them had to play, a couple of them sat, but Biz got put at center for that game. And Biz was like notorious if he made any type of play at all throughout the game, he'd go up to the video guy post game and record it on his phone and then send it out to all the boys.
Like complete a pass. Like if I completed a pass.
We were in the Calder Cup finals. He picked up a breakout pass off his foot and went skate to stick and dumped it out of the zone, and we got that the next day. and so like that was always good stuff. But Biz had to play center that game, and he was so choked about it. And he started the game, and within 45 seconds he was -2, and like the guys on the bench are absolutely howling. And
what happened? Were they on? The goals on you?
Oh, yeah, lost my guy both. Okay, so it happened like legit. I stepped on the ice and within 10 seconds lost my guy. They scored, and I'm fucking rattled. And I'm going back. I'm like going to the bench because every time I get scored on, I'd be like, "Get me off the ice." I'm so embarrassed here, especially when it was my fault. Stutzy's like, "No, stay out there."
Yeah,
legit. 15 seconds within the draw that I lost my guy again. -2, both goals my fault. Funny. So like, I mean, half the guys are mad because they're actually having to play and we're ready to hit in the playoffs. Right. So they didn't even want to travel to Providence. So I'll let you continue the story.
Yeah, so I mean that was it. But then like, God, what are some other really good ones?
But I think I finished the game -3, on which another mistake I made, and Josh Gratton was so mad because he was on my wing and he was worried about his plus minus because he's like, dude, I'm trying to fucking get a contract for next year in Europe, and they take these stats very seriously. And I go -3 because you're a liability at center ice. Fuck me.
Yeah,
so that was like, oh my god.
We Stutzy too. Mike Stuthers was like one of the best coaches I've ever had. He used to lock Biz out of the video session once a week because Biz would show up late from stretching his hamstrings. And I remember Biz like, like probably thinks the NHL guy just coming off the, league in the NHL or career in the NHL. And I remember he opened the door. He's like 30 seconds late, maybe not even late, poked his head in. And he's like, hey, Stutz, I'm here for video. And Stutzy goes, yeah, we're all good. And Biz like closed the door on his head. I just remember Stutzy wouldn't let him into the video. It was happening once a week. We had referees in the American League that would not allow Biz to stand up on the bench. So Biz, when we get into tight games or whatever, say Biz wasn't playing something, whatever, like Biz would go park himself all the way down at the beginning of the bench, and he would operate the door for all the boys.
Need a good door guy. Ask Landeskog.
Yeah. So he would always operate the door. And I remember one of the referees came up and told Biz he couldn't stand up anymore. He couldn't talk and he couldn't stand up anymore on the bench. Like, I don't know. The American League is just,
we had Star Wars night one time and they got Darth Vader dropping the puck and he's dum, 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 dum. The guy fucking steps on the ice, falls, tears his ACL. We couldn't even do a puck drop. Had to help the guy out. He lost his bucket. His bucket goes flying.
Biz had his bucket on his stick.
Oh, yeah. Darth Vader waiting for this guy to get up after he torn his ACL.
Remember Joey Crabb went down on the shootout and shot it right into Barsak's pad when he wasn't looking?
Oh, that was a wild year. We had so many crazy things happen.
Oh, that went like kind of viral, I think.
Yeah, the referee signaled him
I played with Crabber.
Yeah, and so Crabber starts going. He comes down the ice, and our goalie didn't hear the whistle and signal him to go. So our goalie's looking down at his feet, getting mentally focused to prepare for the referee to blow the whistle and allow this guy to come down and shoot. So Joey Crabb comes down, just stick handling, dangling, and then puts it right into fucking. I forget our goalie's name.
Bartosak.
Oh, Bartosak. Yeah, he ended up making the save. So I'm sure Grinelli can end up pulling it up. But
I have that video.
So, yeah, you could send it over. But, okay, I appreciate you bringing up those stories other than the fact that I went -3 in that last game at center ice. So.
That Providence game was so good.
What a great group of guys.
Dowder, John Carlson said he'd come on, he'd do a sandbagger with us. Maybe you'd be his partner. It could be a solid team.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a lot better than I am. So
that's fine.
Perfect.
I'm a lot better than Biz.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know. I've seen Biz golf.
It'll even it out.
Dowd, I want to go back to your childhood a little bit. Yeah, like you said, both your parents are from England. I believe your father was a doctor, your mother was a nurse, correct?
Yeah.
Settled in Huntsville, Alabama. You don't typically think of England and Alabama in the same sentence. Was there a lot of cultural differences? Was it tough to adapt? What was that like?
I can only imagine. They came over in 74. So
oh, geez.
I can imagine there was probably a lot of cultural differences that, yeah, I mean, Huntsville at the time, I think was like a pretty up and coming city, and it still is. I mean, it's always rated in the top, like 10 places to live with families and everything like that. So, yeah, it must've been interesting. I mean, my dad came over on like basically a program that, placed English doctors in the U.S. and he was a professor and he worked in the hospital and eventually took over his own practice. But it was actually between Huntsville, Alabama and Le Sueur, Minnesota, which is like a tiny farm town in Southwest Minnesota, I believe. So I guess it could have gone either way, but they just happened to pick Huntsville. So
being close to Tennessee, did you become a Preds fan when they joined the league?
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah, I the Fang Fingers, I still remember that. I don't know if they still got that going, but yeah, we were definitely Predators fans. That was like one of the big things of our childhood. Every Christmas, our dad would take us up to watch a Preds game, usually like Detroit or Colorado. Yeah, we got to watch like all the big time players, which was great. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
I was actually surprised to hear that Alabama had such a good minor hockey league system, and that's like part of the reason that helped you accelerate. Is it getting even better from when you played?
Yeah, I mean, I believe so. Yeah, like I said, I haven't been back in a while. But yeah, I mean, they have I think they transferred their total package hockey, the TPH program, and maybe even changed names, but they moved all that up to Nashville now, I believe. And then, they form it based off of kids from the whole Southeast. So like Florida. I mean, looking like what our parents did for us was insane. I mean, I think it was something like one weekend out of every month, we traveled somewhere to play like these AAA programs. And then the other 2 out of the other 3 weekends, we would have to travel to like a different city and practice. And we only and then during the week you would practice just with the kids in your hometown. So like you might have like 6 or 8 kids that were from Huntsville. And then on the weekend, those 6 or 8 kids would go and they'd stay at the houses of the other kids that lived in Atlanta or Nashville. And you would practice there on the weekend. And then you'd go play games on the weekends in like Chicago, Michigan, like everywhere. And then you'd fly. Yeah. I mean, it was nuts. Yeah.
When you said that your dad coached your older brothers, when he came over from England, was he a hockey fan or did he actually not even know anything about the game? Like how did he even know what to really coach them?
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably putting some soccer stuff mixed in there a little bit, but
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't honestly, I've never asked that question. That's something I'm going to have to get into with him, but he was, he just coached from the bench just on his shoes. and I think he just got into it honestly, because they needed someone to coach. And then my brothers just wanted to get into hockey. I mean, you can imagine too, like, parents probably just, sometimes get their kids in the mix of stuff just so they can beat other parents. And I think that's kind of how it started. And then my brothers continued to play, and my mom and dad met great friends in that organization. And and then that was basically it. And then I just kind of trended the same way. So
what an incredible story. They must be flabbergasted at the fact that you not only made it to the NHL, but you continue and are having such a great career. And I tell you what, you guys got a great squad, and I think we're going to be eating our words on the fact that we didn't pick you guys to make playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Actually, we have to redo that. We fucked that up last week, so you guys might end up in with our predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to win the division.
We got to redo them this week.
Yeah, I mean, how can you count against a guy like Obi?
Yeah,
because we picked Pittsburgh not to make it, so we got poopy pants at the fact that they probably won't, and we said, hey, we're Pittsburgh guys, we can't pick Washington here. So there's not much real thought behind it. Yeah, just off the seat of our pants.
Like I always say, if we're not putting money on it, it really doesn't matter. So
exactly.
But Nic, thanks so much for joining us. This is awesome. Our fans are going to love it, and we appreciate you joining us for such a great chat.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much to Nic Dowd. Great interview, great guy. We appreciate him coming on very much. And I got to talk to you guys about one thing, though. That's Roman. And most guys, they've tried all these different ways to last longer in the wrapper, but you can't just think about baseball or a math equation or some old ugly guy teacher you had when you were growing up to try to maybe hold your nut in. The folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with their Roman swipes. The secret to longer lasting sex where you really get the job done. Saying the pledging allegiance in your head or counting backwards from 10 does not always work. Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and they're fast acting, but they don't require a prescription. You don't have to call for the refill. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipe packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. Anytime you get called to do the dirty, you can have it right on you to last long and not be a chump. They're super easy to use. You take the swipes out of the packet, you swipe it on your horn, you let it dry, and you're good, as RA says, good to go. That's it. So go to getroman.com/chiclets. You can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/chiclets. Fuck good, fuck nice. Don't be a bitch. Let's go.
You were crushing the Roman ad. Love to see it.
I'll start doing more ads. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I used to suck at it. I'm growing, as your dick does once you put the Roman on.
Coming from Boogie Nights over there.
Well, Biz, I'm surprised you're not mad we haven't got to the Toronto Maple Leafs yet. I know we're deep into the show.
Oh no, I was snapping inside, and I knew I had to bring them up earlier with the toxicity of some of the fan base, but I'm ready to pump their tires. Well, and compliment the other half of the fan base that are with me and believe in this team.
Well, you can pump Morgan Riley's tires, or at least his agent. He just signed an 8-year extension worth $60 million. Comes out to $7.5 million a year, average annual value. He's got a no-move clause for all 8 and a modified no-trade clause for the last 2. He'll be 36 when the deal ends. Of course, the Leafs cap crunch is even worse nowadays. They got about $76 million committed already to next season. Still got a bunch of guys to sign. But, I think this is a key player for this team, Biz. Let's get your take on the signing.
Well, and I don't think anything crazy either, based on what market value is for a guy of his caliber. I think that he could have easily went and got $850. God, Jesus Christ, $850.
Only guy to take a deal for that team, Biz.
So Buffalo, so he couldn't go to Buffalo?
No, he would be $100,000. Fuck off. 8.5, but a great team-friendly deal. And I love this about Dubas. He's stuck by his guns. He says he believes in this group, and he keeps that core together, and they love each other. And last time we were talking, we had fans throwing jerseys on the ice. We had a tough loss to the Carolina Hurricanes against their former goalie. So it didn't feel so good. But I believe in this group, as I always do, and they've rattled off 2 wins since. They have a very tough schedule coming up here. But one thing that was important in that rally win against the Chicago Blackhawks when they were down 2-0 was after that first period, and JT, John Tavares, warming up the bus. He had a beauty backhander in that one. And Austin Matthews in their post-game quotes, they touched on it. Simmons steps up in the locker room after that first period. Accountability. The Wayne train had seen enough. And JT says he doesn't talk often, but when he speaks, the group listens. And Austin says, we all love each other in here, but sometimes it's just strictly about accountability. And that's one thing that I think that there isn't as much of in the locker room nowadays, or at least in some locker rooms, where guys aren't willing to step up and look at every guy in the eye and basically tell him to fuck off. I know you got more to give to this team than what you're giving right now. and we could figure this fucking thing out. Dig within, stop feeling sorry for yourselves, stop being the losers that we're not, and let's turn this thing around. And they did. And I don't care what fucking team in the NHL it was against, because it's a tough league, and we all know that the parity's there. And the Wayne train stepped up. He said something. They came out and they rallied, and they win that thing in overtime. Austin Matthews giving the double barrel to the fans in the corner who were taunting him, much like Garland was to the guy in Seattle who was crushing beers behind the bench. And now they're rolling. They got 2 in a row. So they're figuring out their identity. They're trying to fit in those puzzle pieces that they've lost from last season. Goaltending starting to look a little bit better, and they're addressing the accountability in that locker room, which is one thing that I think is very important. Whit, you can talk about it too. How many times have we had guys on the podcast? And I know we joke about Chris Pronger sometimes not being maybe the friendliest teammate, but he doesn't give a fuck if your friend's off the ice. He'd rather see you competing and helping them win hockey games and bringing what you need to the group, because that's more important. That's what's going to eventually mend the real friendship, is hoisting a Stanley Cup together. So I'll throw it over to you. I've babbled on enough.
Yeah, I think Morgan Rielly deserves this money, and good for him. Happy for him. Great defenseman. But I more want to look at this disastrous Toronto Maple Leafs organization and having literally no money, and they got to sign, 6 guys next year?
I'll play for $750. We got Curtis Gabriel, $750.
Yeah, we get all the top. You get all
half the Buffalo roster and fill in the blanks.
What is the game plan? To me, it looks like the game plan is you're trading one of these dudes that's making all this money, right? How else are they going to legitimately field a hockey team next year? I do not get it. It seems like Dubas is willing to obviously pay their superstars and their guys that deserve this money, but I don't know, what is the next step next year? All right, you're a fan, you're a Maple Leaf hater. I
don't know, man.
I'm so dumbfounded by what are they going to do?
This team has been so close to this salary dump and trade for years, and they just don't seem to make it. They seem to avoid it. And we talked about the goaltending crunch where they had to fucking sign a guy off of college because they couldn't call a guy up and let out potentially losing a guy. I mean,
so you guys
they're just so all in. They're just so all in.
So like you guys to talk about next year. We're fucking. What are we?
Oh yeah. What Leafs fan ever talks about next year, dude?
We're 10 games into the fucking season, and you're talking about next year.
I was just answering Whit's question.
No. It's not your fault. All right. It's this guy's. That's the toxicity I'm talking about, folks. Right.
I'm out west.
What's a toxic male?
I'm out west. I'm watching the 9:00 start. Oilers, Seattle Kraken. I don't give a fuck about those Maple Leafs Saudis. The epicenter of the hockey universe, Toronto. Suck it. You got no team next year. You got no team this year. You got a team that's probably going to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. Now, great for Morgan Rielly. He's an awesome defenseman. I'm happy
awesome
for him.
Guy,
I'm looking as a journalist. RA tells me I'm a journalist. I'm looking as a journalist. What are you doing? What are you doing? You have 7 players making all the dough on your team. I don't get it. Now, when they win the cup and I'm wearing a pink fucking suit, you can drive to my house and take a shit all over my driveway, Biz, and then just punch me in the face. I got blood dripping down my pink tuxedo. But I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think you're going to have shit to say when they lose again in the first round.
We can move on. Great accountability in that locker room. Proud of the boys. 2-0 in the last 2.
What a player. What a player.
The Wayne train. Bringing that leadership.
What a leader.
Who do they got next? I think they got Vegas pretty soon, don't they?
The next Maple Leafs game is against the Golden Knights. Biz, you're on fire tonight, buddy.
Wow. Like fucking Rayman memorizing schedules over here.
Well, because that's why before I spoke on it, I want to see 2-0. They needed this little bit of confidence. They got a very tough stretch of games coming up here. We know there's no easy games in the league, but specifically, and the fact that the Golden Knights haven't been playing the greatest, what are they, 500 right now?
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, you get worried about teams that have who are expected to do a lot, and all of a sudden it's okay, now they caught their stride. Vegas is one of those teams.
Oh my God, they got murderers row here. They got Vegas Tuesday, Tampa Thursday, the Bruins Saturday, the Kings Monday, Philly Wednesday, Calgary Friday.
Could be out of it.
Heads up, Toronto.
I think they're going to win 4 of those 5 games.
I listed 6. If they can go 4-2, that's nice. And they actually, Calgary's a back-to-back the next night with Buffalo, who, their odds are the same as for the Cup, as I've mentioned. So, yeah, 7. They got 7 games in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 nights, right? So, good test right there, Biz. If they can go 5-2 out of that, you're loving life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biz, we've heard enough about the Leafs so far. Super fanboy over here, but we appreciate your input anyways.
Thank you.
The Rangers, another team that you were hard on for 5-2-1 with, 6-2-1 after Sunday's win. But the big news with the Rangers, they extended 23-year-old stud defenseman Adam Fox, 7-year extension worth $66 million. Comes out to 9.5 AAV, was going to be RFA this year. This kid has been a stud. He won the Norris last year. We've been raving about him since. This is just in line with what these guys are getting. I mean, these guys are getting sick dough. You wish you played now instead of back then, or what?
Oh yeah.
No.
Have
you seen how fast the game is now?
This guy was.
Jesus, dude. I mean, if Crosby was coming around now, sure, I had to follow his footsteps everywhere to make any sort of dough. But Adam Fox, I haven't seen one thing online, which. Whatever, it's online, but Rangers fans, they love this deal. They love it. I mean, if Seth Jones is getting this dough and he's older and he's UFA, why wouldn't Adam Fox get it? And if he waited till the end of the year, he could have had $10 million a year. And if he got offer sheeted, it could have got $11 million a year. It's the largest contract ever given to a defenseman coming out of his entry-level contract. And the way this guy's played last year was one thing, but this year to continue, I mean, some of the passes he makes, I cannot verbally blow his dick harder than I usually do. And in the end, this contract makes total sense because he's a young game breaker. He's pretty much now, you can say with confidence, like he's a point per game player.
Yeah.
I think, last year on an 82 game pace, he's getting 75 points. And this year he's 9 points in 9 games leading that team. Not only defensively, but offensively. He's a breakout machine. I've said this all a million times, but it's right in line with Werenski. It's right in line with Cale Makar, and it's right in line with who was the third unrestricted guy? Or the third big D contract I'm thinking of.
There was a
McAvoy. Excuse me, restricted. So I love the player. Actually, Biz, if you could take, so you got Werenski, McAvoy, Fox and Makar all locked up at 9.5 roughly. Who you taking?
If we're talking same amount of years, not based on their contracts, like let's say they were all 8 years.
Say they were all 8 years, 9.5. Werenski's a little bit older, so McAvoy, Makar, and Fox.
I'll say this: I was swayed by the online opinion early on of Cale Makar, but after Adam Fox had done last year what he'd done, and now that I'm keeping a closer eye on him, like obviously I've been very bullish on the Rangers since the start of the year, so I'm tuning in to see how they're evolving as a group. There are like 2-3 times a game where he just completely takes over, and we went back to that road trip where they went 4-0. Where 2 of the games he made the winning play by just spinning off a defender and finding the open guy for tap-ins. And then on the day he signs this extension for 9.5 sheets, he ends up getting the game winner against Seattle, in which Shesterkin made a great save. He ends up breaking the puck out to Panarin. Panarin does a great job as he's on the zone entry of finding space, but Fox, you could see him come up the ice and find the gap, accepts the pass perfectly, and kind of does that toe drag shot where they pull Matthews. It in and snap it, change the angle on the goalie. I'm taking Adam Fox, and he's on a run right now, and he's caught a wave, and I think that he's the best defenseman on the planet.
He's incredible.
We've been talking about him every single podcast.
I know.
I feel like a loser. I feel like I'm going to get a restraining order.
No, it's okay, Biz. It's okay, Biz. The guy loves him. We might have helped him get paid. And in the end, I said Werenski's older. He's a year older than the 3 guys I mentioned. I think McAvoy, Makar, and Fox are 23, and Werenski's 24. I might be Fox too. It might be McAvoy. Fuck, the game he had the other night was ridiculous.
So if you want to look at
Florida,
if you want to look at the complete package as a defenseman, I mean, we talked about Pronger earlier. I would say that no, you can't be as nasty as Pronger was when he was being nasty. Like the cross,
you'd be sussied every 3
you'd be
games.
sussied to be in the box. But the full physical, complete game with offense, best 5-on-5 defensive player. Yes, you have McAvoy. Werenski, what he can provide to Columbus, being like being a very average run-of-the-mill team. I don't know, man. If you put him in the environments that those other two guys are in, like who knows where the sky is.
I know.
So and then of course we know what Makar could the second half of the season end up running away with a Norris, right? That's how good he is. He's a video game player. He is the McDavid of the back end in the way he moves. So it's like we're coming upon a time here where it's like the greatest generation of tennis, where you get like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, and even Andy Murray. I feel like that's what we're dealing with as far as balancing these defensemen. Who is the best one? I don't know.
And that's with Victor Hedman still running around this league.
Yeah.
But to wrap up the Adam Fox contract, I'll say this: he got himself traded twice to get to his hometown favorite team, New York Rangers. And his quote is, I feel like I've been a part of the Rangers my whole life. You know, from being a kid and to have this opportunity now and be with this organization for 7 more years, it's so special and there's no place I'd rather be.
Oh, my God.
And I truthfully believe
I got chills.
The next player to wear the C on the New York Rangers uniform has to be Adam Fox.
Wow.
So we'll see what goes on.
I completely forgot about the
Phantom Gallant comment.
Yeah, the Gallant Sonk with the A's.
Sonk me. Did we mention that Sonk got into the big booty mix?
I don't know if he mentioned it.
It's been a big week for the Sonk because Sonk got in the big booty mix 20. Check it out by 2 friends. And the Sonk this week on the Play Barstool app gave out $15,000 to a winner who went 6 for 6 in his picks. Free to play. Playbarstool.com, baby.
Playbarstool.com. You want to just do a game that takes 3 seconds to fill out?
That's what Adam Fox makes in one shift.
But the best thing is if you win the Sonk, you get the 15 Gs, and then a check comes that just says Sonk.
Does it?
Phantom. Tough joke.
Crickets. Biz, I know we're talking about the Rangers. You want to talk about the moment with
I didn't understand. I didn't understand if you were being serious or not. So that's why I didn't react to that. But great game that you guys got going online. What were you asking, RA?
No, I was gonna go to the Elvis Merzlikins Igor Shesterkin clip that you wanted to talk about, the Rangers goaltender.
Yes, but to put a nice cap off on that whole Adam Fox breakdown. I think that it makes way too much sense to make him captain now after giving him that contract, whether he gets it this year or not. I say play the season out with A's. Give it to him in the offs. Things are going good right now. Don't fuck with the chemistry. Don't put another thing at the back of his mind or on his plate. Stick with the A's. Stick with the Gallant Sonk. We got to talk about more goaltenders because we were stroking them off on the front part of this with all the great goaltending with Bobrovsky, with Markstrom, Binnington. Another bizarre thing happened in the Columbus New York Rangers game where RA, was it at the end of the game as things were getting wrapped up?
Yes. It was 4-0 with about 16 seconds left, 18 seconds left. And Blue Jackets were down 4-0. They had the puck in their own zone. And Elvis Merzlikins basically told his team to just hold the puck. And he raised his stick to salute to Igor Shesterkin. I've never seen anything like that in hockey before, like in the NHL. I mean, it was pretty cool because I guess the game's over. It's 4-0, but I've never seen a goalie kind of call off his team and give a salute to the other goalie. And I mean, some people thought it was cool. I don't know. It was unique. It was different. I don't have a reaction, negative or positive. I just never seen it before. I'm kind of shocked when I first saw it, just to have a goalie tell his team all right, man, just leave it. I mean, they're not going to score probably anyways, but
to tummy stick or not to tummy stick. Is that a tummy stick situation? What is? Do you maybe wait till the hallway afterward? What's happening here?
Maybe I'm a little old school. I thought it was fucking embarrassing. I saw the comments on the Instagram when we put it up, or maybe the NHL. This is amazing. This is so cool. Oh my God. What are you talking about? The game's over. You won the game. The Rangers, right? They won the game. Go try to get one. when did it become like, let's make sure he gets the shutout. There's 20 seconds left. Like, good job. Like, I'm not saying this wasn't like an honorable, nice thing for Merzlikins to do, but you want to talk about John Tortorella. He might have smashed Merzlikins' head off the post had he seen him doing that when he was coaching him. RA's right. I've never seen that. Like you're that proud of him and happy that he gets a shutout against your team that you're not only like cheering for him, but you're like, guys, stop playing. Let's all stop and just high five him from the other end of the ice. Great job, Shesterkin. Awesome. You just fucking owned us. I just thought it was bizarre. I just thought it was weird. I don't know. And I guarantee I'm not the only guy. I'm guaranteeing there was a guy on that Blue Jackets team who was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Let's at least go try to get one. Who cares? Why do we want him to get a shutout? It makes us look worse.
Yeah, I had my guy. I thought it was definitely bizarre, but just kind of shows like how nice the guy is, true to his core.
I'm not. Yeah.
I feel you. RA, from a fan perspective, like let's say Swayman. Let's say Swayman gets. Let's even say it's at home, because I know it was at MSG. Let's say at the Garden. He's tapping his stick, calling back. He's saying, McAvoy, get behind the net, rag the puck.
Stop trying to score.
Stop. Hey, congrats on the 4-0 win, bud.
Congrats on dummying us.
Stick tapping, the salute. What do you make of that as a home fan?
That wouldn't go over well in Boston at all. I mean, yeah, if it was my team doing it, I don't know. I think though and I just was reading some of the comments online, and I hate to even bring it up. I don't know if this would matter, but after what he went through this year, you wonder if he might have a different perspective on life. What Elvis went through with losing his teammate.
Agreed.
And I hate to drag that into it or bring it into it, but I can't help but think that it might have like a little, like it brings a different perspective. That like what he went through changed his whole world, his whole trajectory of his life changed
now
at that
I feel
moment.
like a real prick.
No, I think it's good to get all sides of it. With
so
I
agree.
Maybe we weren't even.
He just like, all right, yeah, man, like a year ago, maybe he wouldn't have done that. And maybe now it's like, hey, man, we're not scoring fucking 5 goals in 13 seconds here. Just pull it back and fucking wave. And I know that goes against maybe what professional athletes are trained to do. But I do think that maybe, what he saw over this last summer may have given him a different perspective where big fucking deal, dude. The guy got a shutout. I'll give him a stick. At the end of the day, who cares?
All right. I appreciate that perspective. And to throw it back to you, I know you're probably like, oh, I feel like a jerk for saying that. No, there's a lot of people who are competitive in nature who would have, as you said, maybe even some guys on the Columbus team. And RA, your point is completely valid. And it goes back to the good versus evil, where we were talking about the Binnington situation earlier.
You think Binnington would have done that?
No, I'm saying good versus evil, as in like
I
was
agreeing with you.
You got to have your villains and you got to have, the good guys. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it all. So I don't think that it's a bad thing in any situation. Yes, I thought it was a bit bizarre. I don't think that they're going to score 5 goals in whatever time it is. But regardless, I don't want my goalie pumping the other goalie's tires when we're trying to score one late in the game.
To ruin a shutout. I mean, I've been on teams. It's like
mental warfare.
This guy's shutout at least. Now, RA, it is a very good point. It is a very good point where he's just, his life is completely different. And I actually think about it now. It's like if Shesterkin was doing it to Merzlikins, it'd be like really kind of make sense, like, hey, this guy's just got to shout out what he's been through. I wouldn't be as judgmental as I was. So I do feel bad. The way you worded that, it's true. His life is different. His outlook on life and the game is probably completely changed. It's just funny, though. It's like, okay, you're down 4-0, and a guy's got 2 goals. Say Panarin had 2 goals. Like, is it like, all right, let's make sure he gets that hat trick against us? Fuck. It's just weird to try to think about an opposing player like proud out and looking out for like
in the midst of competition,
in the midst of the game. It was just, I guess, in the sense that RA said, it was so bizarre that my first thought was like, this is just weird.
That's why I wanted to bring it up on the podcast and have the conversation. But RA, I really appreciate your perspective, and I hadn't really given that thought, that side of it.
Yeah,
he did of course go through a lot, and yeah. And
so another I bet Columbus that night too.
So another
you were really motherfucking him at the time.
Another thing we got to mention though, and this is like on the real ugly side, was I want to say it was in Dallas, and he was going out to the ice.
Actually, that game the game was in Columbus. It was a Dallas fan. I thought it was a Dallas fan.
Okay.
You're talking about Merzlikins, right?
Yeah, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. It's just an absolute scumbag fan. And I don't want to say a scumbag Stars fan because then people assign scumbag fucking label to all fan bases. And every fan base has scumbags. But it was a Stars fan in this case. And he said, I'm not going to repeat it, said some awful shit to Elvis as he was coming out to the ice for a game. And it's just the fact that, like, you go into a fucking game and you're going to, like, say something like that to a guy who watched his friend die, like to even like bring that up, to have the mentality to bring that up. You're a fucking scumbag. I don't know if they found out who the guy was. I know Aaron Portzline, who does a great job covering the Blue Jackets for The Athletic. He initially reported it. They were looking for the guy. I don't know if they found him, but like, fuck you, buddy. Don't ever come to arena again if you're going to talk to somebody like that. And listen, I've said some stupid shit. I've yelled shit as a Bruins fan over the years. But never like to fucking say something like what he said about the incident, the accident that
was
happened.
Pure evil.
Just fucking scumbag, dude.
It was like evil.
You have to be an asshole.
Oh my God. How deranged do you have to be to yell something like that? Like, actually evil, where that guy deserves to get his head punched in. Like, I could not believe when that tweet came out where you could hear what the guy said. It's like, I can't believe there's people out there like that.
So what Witt's alluding to is there was a video that came out because the social team for Columbus was videoing as all the players are going onto the ice. So you could see Merzlikins heading onto the ice, and then about 5 seconds later, you can hear the fan say it word for word. Like it came in clear as day. So we're not going to play it for you guys, but if you're a fan,
fuck that guy.
Listen. If you want to chase the goalie and like and say certain things,
call him a sieve, Jesus Christ.
But this is gross,
fucking gross. Okay, boys, moving right along. Hey, have you ever wanted to make your home feel safer? There's no better time than now. This week, our friends at Simply Safe are giving Chiclets listeners 40% off their award-winning home security. We love Simply Safe because it has everything you need to make your home safe. Indoor and outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals who send out help the instant you need it. Simply Safe was even named the best home security system of 2021 by U.S. News and World Report. And you can easily customize the system for your home online in minutes. And you can even get free custom recommendations from Simply Safe. Simply Safe is everybody's favorite home security company. I'm no exception. Setting up technology is normally a huge hassle, but with Simply Safe, I had my system up and running in no time at all. I sleep better at night knowing my old lady and I are protected day and night with my Simply Safe camera that has a built-in spotlight and night vision. Take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday sale and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplysafe.com/chiclets. Again, that's simplysafe.com/chiclets for 40% off your entire system. Hurry, because this offer ends soon. All right, boys, one other extension to get to. The Vegas Golden Knights signed 24-year-old defenseman Zach Whitecloud to a 6-year extension worth $16.5 million. Comes out to $2.75 million AAV. Interestingly, he will be the only member of the team signed through 27-28. I'll keep an eye on that Vegas salary cap.
Yeah, because there's no loyalty there.
Yeah, hey, you said it, not me. The New Jersey Devils, Biz, PK Subban had a little slewfoot incident with Milan Lucic last week.
You mean PK Sluban?
Oh,
that's what people are calling him online. So listen, I defended PK Subban in the incident with Ryan Reeves in preseason. And I will say, I still think that was not a slew foot. It looked like Revo's body weight had already been working its way like behind him and into the pretzel that he found himself in. Does he typically use his leg a little bit when going into puck battles? Well, it just so happens a lot of people have been telling me when that Revo incident happened, they were like, hey, this is a regular occurrence. They see this like 2, 3, 4 times a year. Well, sure as shit, they're playing against the Calgary Flames, and him and Milan Lucic are in a puck battle, and this one was very blatant. Whit, did you end up witnessing it?
I did. And I've thought it's been an issue for a while now, and there's been a bunch of different examples of it. And I will say the one on Reeves, it wasn't nearly as bad, but he got somebody on the Bruins last year. It was Trent Frederick, correct?
Oh, look, now he's shaking his head. He's angry.
And this time, he finally really got caught doing one. And it's funny because you've seen Brad Marchand pull them also, but Subban has made it a habit. And Sean Avery actually had a great video where he's like, hey, dude, your trick's done. The cat's out of the bag, man. You got to get a new move.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, guys have dirty little moves that they get away with long enough until finally it becomes a big enough storyline where everyone's looking out for it now. And that's going to be the case with Subban. When he's gone in with contact with people, he's, whether it's deliberate or not, gotten his foot behind them and taken them down with the occasional slew foot. So that's a dirty play. I've all long said, my father growing up told me dirtiest play in hockey is a slew foot. So I didn't like it. I think it was trash. I don't think it was a respectable play. And I understand the fury that was online going towards him and calling him PK, what is it? Sluban?
PK Sluban.
I mean, nicknames that people create online are so good.
A 10 out of 10 nickname,
10
first of all.
100%.
And to the people who made me aware of the prior incidences, and they sent me the YouTube clips that, yeah, there are probably at least 5 or 6 online that are blatant. Now, if you have 6 slew foots in your career, yeah, I guess you're kind of a slew footer, no? That's not happening that frequently. And I will say, in the Revo one, and more so in the Lucic one, it looks like he's protecting the puck, and it's visible between his legs, even from PK, as he's kind of closing the gap on him. Maybe he's thinking about reaching his foot in to try to scoop that puck out of there. But I'll tell you what, I can no longer at this point make excuses for him because I already did that. And then once again, I put the clown nose on. So PK Sluban, look out for it. We love him here on the show, but you can't be slew footing guys. And especially guys like Lucic, because
of all the guys to slew foot, what the fuck you picking him for?
He was fuming on the bench.
Must have been
that ain't over. They play again. You play every team twice.
Yeah, seriously. And there's a guy who takes a fucking number, Lucic.
PK might have the Lucic flu next time Calgary
let's look
facing
for
off
it
against the Devils.
Seriously, I'd have it.
Well, if I had as much money as him in the bank,
because
Lucic,
next time they play, if Subban's in the lineup, he is getting him. He's going to fight him whether PK wants to or not.
You know what he's telling his centerman? He's saying, put it in that fucking corner 20 times. I'll make sure I get him once.
Yeah, that's how he made his fucking career, man.
Unbelievable.
All right, a little bit of an injury update for some superstars out there. Cooch, Tampa Bay's Kucherov, out 8 to 10 weeks after an unnamed lower body injury procedure. Jack Hughes is going to be out 5 weeks with a dislocation of his left shoulder. Spit it out. And Drew Doughty of the Kings suffered a tibial plateau contusion. He's going to start skating about 6 weeks from now. Hopefully, we'll resume play in about 8 weeks. Want to give you an update there.
Everything downhill since he tore his labrum, throwing that stick into the crowd. I don't know if you New Jersey Devils fans had heard this, that's when he did it. When he scored the OT winner and he threw the stick in the crowd, when he extended his arm, it popped out. And
that shit
here we are.
Oh, my God. The Blackhawks are winning 20.
All of a sudden, the New Jersey Devils are a lottery team, just like that.
All right, we want to give a shout out to our boy, Ryan Getzlaf, alumni of the Spittin Chiclets show. He became the all-time leading scorer for the Anaheim Ducks, formerly the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, 989 points. He passed the great Teemu Solani to pass him. 11 more points. He's going to hit 1,000. You played with Getsy a few years back. You must have something to say about this guy.
I've long said one of the greatest players to play in the NHL the last 15 years. An incredible force on the ice, a monster. 10 years ago in his prime, even 6-7 years ago, a power forward that really was unmatched in the NHL in my mind. The sickest hands and the sickest vision I've ever seen, and not I've ever seen, but right up there. He had the ability to play mean, angry. His shot, which he rarely used, is filthy, an absolute rocket of a wrist shot. He could run a power play from the top with Niedermayer when they won the Stanley Cup, and years after that, he could be on the half wall. He really could do it all. And now to go down as probably the best player to ever play for the Anaheim Ducks is well-deserved. He broke Solani's record. Of course, he did it in a humble manner, talking about how Solani did so much for the game in Southern California, And I'll never forget the year the Penguins won the Cup when I was traded for Kunitz. We played in the playoffs. We beat the President's Trophy winning Sharks in 6 games. And then we lost in 7 to Detroit, who ended up losing to Pittsburgh. So in 13 games, I think Getzlaf had 18 points. He was playing close to 29 minutes a game, and he was by far and away through the first 2 rounds of the NHL playoffs that year, the MVP leader.
Wow.
The Conn Smythe winner.
That was when he was at the top of his game.
Oh, dude, this guy, he fought Joe Thornton, I think, in game 3 off the opening faceoff. Just like the ultimate leader. So good and dirty too, man. This guy, little Mark Messier in him, a fucking Western Canadian prick. I think he's a Saskatchewan boy. I think his brother played football.
Yeah.
I mentioned that, Regina.
Yeah,
and Getzlaf is just like such a funny guy too. He's always busting balls. Real good chirper, funny guy, loves golf, would love to get him in a sandbagger. And the interview with him was a blast. I thought it was a great interview. I think that was during COVID, if I remember correctly. And an amazing career he's had. I think he's 11 points away from 1,000. He'll get that, no doubt. 1, 2, 3 on wood. And it was an honor playing with him, truthfully. It was a guy that you've heard over and over. If he was in a big market out east, he would be that much bigger within the game. And he really could give 2 fucks. He's got the gold medals. He's got the Stanley Cup. He's got the World Junior Gold. He's done it all.
Funny you mentioned that playing with him. I don't know if you know I played with him.
Yeah, in under 17 or something, you said?
Under 18. He didn't make the original team in the summertime. He should have. And then Calgary Hitmen got beat out of playoffs, I think, in the first round. He joined us, and he ended up being the MVP of that tournament. And that was when we ended up winning gold. And, you know, I wouldn't have that ring if it wasn't for him, because he pretty much put the team on his back. I
thought you pawned that ring and sold it when you were short of some cash in the minors that year.
You're a fucking idiot.
He actually sold the ring when he sold the Abercrombie clothes in the parking lot. One of the pair of jeans came with the ring.
Why would you try to ruin my story, buddy? Are you fucking kidding me?
Go ahead. I
wasn't really going anywhere other than the fact that he helped me win a ring. So I'm very grateful for him. And to see that he went on to accomplish everything that he did is no surprise, because I saw it from that minute that this guy was going to be special. And what a fucking run, buddy. Congrats.
Oh my God.
Congrats, Getsy. Congrats.
Talk about the Matthews drag and shoot. You can YouTube and look back at some of Getzlaf's
check out his
goals.
Check out his highlights too. Not his like highlights goals, like the highlights on his head when he used to.
I was gonna say, plus he showed bald is beautiful too. I mean, that's why I love the guy.
All right, who is he again from Sopranos?
Oh, Adi Bucco.
Adi Bucco.
Yeah, he is Adi Bucco.
He's got the frosted tip special, baby.
Yeah, well, more so like he's actually doing the full shave, but yeah, early when he started going bald, he definitely had the Adi Bucco.
No, but before, so there were stages to it. It was starting to thin out a little bit, but he was still going with the what do you call it?
He wasn't bicking it, basically.
There's a name for it.
I was in the same boat as him.
I think
the man biz when the Oilers go further than the Flames.
No, yeah, that what do you call it, Grinelli, when you pull the hair through and you dye it? The frosted tips.
Yeah, I said the highlights.
Oh yeah. Boy, they're called frosted tips.
All right. Well, boys, you know, there've been a lot of depressing things going on lately, but one of the saddest sights these eyes have ever seen occurred in the last few days. St. Catherine Street, Montreal, Super 6 burned down. I don't know if you guys saw
that. That screams insurance fire. Screams insurance fire.
I mean, that shit must have been on fire.
Let's ask Theodore. He definitely knows what's going on up there.
He lit it on fire.
But no, I mean, it was awful to see it. You know, anytime you see a picture of anything on fire, again, as a son of a fucking Jake, you hate to think of guys going to work and putting that out. But like, there was one picture and it was the fire burning out from the top of it. But the Super Sex sign was still lit up in the Superman colors. And then in the morning, everything was just burnt down, melted. just sad, tragic. I mean, anytime people lose a business, but any guy who's been 17 has gone to Montreal has a super sex memory.
Just a giant inferno ends, and there's rubble and burnt trash everywhere and sticking up a giant dildo.
Yeah.
That was used at super sex that made it through the fire.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone's okay.
Obviously.
And hopefully the insurance company can pay out the owners who probably had that fire happen on purpose.
Yeah. And if
unless it was Hell's Angels, then I take it all back.
And if you find my ring, please return it.
And if you see Biz's wallet there,
okay, we're off the rails.
Email the Chiclets account and we'll get back to him.
We're off the rails. We'll talk to you guys next podcast. Are we done here?
And everyone, thank you. What else you got? All right.
The only other thing, RIP to Jerry Remy, who was the Boston Red Sox announcer for a long time for me and you at our generation, you too, Grinelli. Just a former Red Sox second baseman. He became basically an icon around here, and he battled through cancer 7 different times, and he passed away the other day. So just we're Boston guys. We'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the passing of Jerry Remy, just a huge influence.
The Rem Dog.
So many announces the Rem Dog. So that, and also I was sitting home watching hockey, watching the Bruins. 9:00 Saturday night, my phone rings. It's Walshy, Brandon Walsh. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Watching the Bruins." He's like, "You want to go to Santapio's?" I was like, "Okay." So I'm like, I do like, this is the most out of the blue thing. I mean, Walsh will call once in a blue moon, but like we usually text. Like, I'm like, okay, we went over. I think I ate the most aggressive pizza I've ever eaten in my life. It had sausage, hot pepper, and garlic was the pizza at Santapio's. It was delicious going down, but boy, I paid for it for the rest of the weekend.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah.
Everyone have a wonderful week and head up Saturday night. We got Carolina, Florida. Who would have thought that this is the battle of 2 of the best teams? Biz says the team that's 8-0-0 is the best team in the league right now. So as we said, that's why he makes the big bucks. We love all you listeners. We love all you fans. And you're welcome for me pushing back surgery so we can do another sandbagger piece.
Philadelphia. We will see you Saturday.
Philadelphia.
Grinelli, help us out.
At the Tradesman, baby. 7 p.m. Get there early. First come, first serve.
Barstool Sportsbook. Download it. Let's get ready to fucking crank. Win some money on the Flyers.
No disrespect to Santops. I got GI issues. I don't want Rocky at my front door. But everybody have a fantastic week. We'll see you in Philly this weekend if you're down there, and we'll catch you next week on this show. Have a great week, all.